right? Everything that comes out of your mouth in here needs to be a fact. That means that whatever part of the universe that we're in, no matter if you're so-called black, YT, whatever, that whatever is discussed in here, it must be observed to be true each and every single time, right? So that's the way that I move, off truth, universal truth. The universe is saying that when it comes to all these people that we see, some of these people are not supposed to be on the planet. Some of the animals we see are not supposed to be on the planet. Some of the plants that we see, insects, some microorganisms, some bacteria that we see are not supposed to be on the planet. And so somebody say, why say YT when you can, because it flags alive. So yeah, we do have to use TikTok friendly language because it will flag the live. They have community guidelines. So yeah, evolution is the biggest lie ever told because nothing on this planet evolved the way that they are saying it does within the theory, right? We've never seen haploids turn into diploids or for autotrophs to turn heterotrophs, right? We don't see evolution across species. We only see some sort of adaptation to a response in to the environment within one species at a time. But a cat doesn't come from a lion, right? A dog will never evolve into a kangaroo. Yet this is what evolution claims, that somehow all life on the planet is connected. But when we look at all life, we see two cellular form types, right? And these two cellular form types stem or come from two different origins. And so this is how we know what is biogenetic to this planet, what is supposed to be here, and what is not supposed to be here, just by observing the cellular structure, right? So this is what this discussion is about. Evolution, the biggest lie ever told. Right? I'm gonna just wait for more people to get in here. And if anybody disagrees, feel free to request up. William, you requested up. William, did you mean to request up? If you're talking, we can't hear you. Okay. Evolution is the biggest lie ever told. If you disagree with that, feel free to request up. If you agree with it, feel free to request up. Because all life on the planet is not connected through common ancestry. All life stems from two origins. Who is this? What's your thing? Go ahead.
Yeah. So, what proof do you have to show that we're all not connected?
Evolution is the biggest lie ever told. How do you feel about the prompt?
Well, I know that all of us are human beings, no matter what color skin we are. Do you have proof to show that we're not?
I mean, do you have proof of what you're saying, how we're all genetically and
I do.
biologically connected?
I do. And
And
it
what's
actually,
that proof?
the proof I have is from a black woman from Princeton University.
Mm-hmm. What did she say?
Her name is Nell Irving Painter. Are you by a computer?
What did she say?
Well, everybody derived from Africa.
And how is that true considering that all so-called black people's DNA is genetically connected to the entire globe? It wouldn't just be centralized to Africa, right? Because the planet doesn't operate in titles. We're calling it that. So all the land stems from the same embryological origin, just like cells do.
Well,
And that's
everybody
also
thinks
something that's being debunked every day. So just because someone at Princeton says it doesn't mean that it makes it true, right? There's all scientists and doctors post their work for peer review. So I would like to see what the other scientists are saying about what she's saying, because evolutionary biologists are saying that all life is not connected and that it stems down to prokaryotes and eukaryotes, and that these two life forms stem from two different origins. So, how could all life have started in one place when all life on the planet can't even synthesize um, the sun, which is what
we
shines
can't.
on all four corners of the planet?
We can't. We can't. So everybody is for one in America. We have this thing called white and black. There's no such thing as black, and there's no such thing as white. We're all brown. Some are
Right.
lighter and some are darker.
Mm-hmm. But
Um,
like that's kindergarten shit. When you're talking about colors, when it gets down to genetics and biology, it comes to biochemical substances and melanin, right? And the type of melanin you have explains the type of DNA that you have. So scientists do not talk in YT and BLK. They
show
talk
me
in
a
types of
scientist.
melanin, right? So this is a discussion about neuromelanin versus in vitro neuromelanin, or pheomelanin versus in vitro pheomelanin. That's this
Show
discussion.
me.
You know what I'm saying?
Show me,
Skin
show me a
color only.
scientist.
Look, you see how like I didn't overtalk you not
Go
once, and
ahead. Go
like I'm
ahead. Go
trying
ahead.
to, yeah.
I'll wait till you're done. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm just letting you know that like evolution doesn't pertain to skin color. It pertains to the two cellular form types. The theory starts out with prokaryotes and eukaryotes, right? What makes you who you are is your DNA, not the title. Like, so
Correct.
that's just what, you know, I
Are,
don't know.
are you done? Can I talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So 99.9% of our DNA.
Scientists like Dr. Richard King, Dr. Edward Bruce Bynum, Dr. N.C. Brown, and Dr. T. Owens Moore, they're all explaining that our people stem from a completely different embryological origin than everyone else on this planet. So when it comes to evolution, and it's talking about the base premise of haploids versus diploids, or prokaryotes versus eukaryotes, all scientists that understand the basis of evolution know that all life is not connected. They just don't talk in the terms like how we're doing on TikTok. You have to understand the basis of what these things mean. Science explains the functionality. So if you're, you know what I'm saying, living life thinking that this is through skin color, um, you wouldn't be able to understand what the scientists are actually saying about.
So no, I can understand what they're saying. Tom or John Hawks, Princeton University, they've actually just did a new research. Maybe you haven't seen the research on it, but Neanderthal, black people have it in their blood. It's just a lower percentage. White people have 1 to 2%. Asians actually have the highest percent. It's 3 to 4%. So it everybody has Neanderthal DNA.
That's
So I don't
fine.
know if you haven't
Everybody, our
read.
people have antigens. That when you look, when you're talking about Neanderthal, this is why understanding the functionality of cells is important, because the prokaryotic cells, we have 150 trillion of those that are coded in this in the a biochemical substance known as neuromelanin. And each of those cells are not natural producers of animal proteins and enzymes. But we do have antigens that are attached to our red blood cells, and these antigens are connected to animal DNA. So this is what I'm saying. There's two life forms on the planet, one of eukaryotic origin, which has now affected our DNA due to aquaminated water, due to nanotech in the air, due to mixing with these people over so-called time. Because if we were the same species, can you explain to me why when we
What
first came in contact with these people that their seminal fluids was wiping our women out, two continents plus others alone?
what
That wasn't
people
happening with us, and that doesn't happen amongst the same species, right? We only see that happen within organisms that are not the same species. So
what people?
Our people, so-called black people, versus everyone else outside of us.
Man, you got to do some reading. You're really brainwashed on a lot of the stuff that you're
Caitlin, can you
just
prove
spewing
to me
out.
what I'm wrong about?
I
Like
don't
you
even
just
think that
laughing and
you
shit. I'm not
understand.
laughing. That's the
I
thing.
don't even
Look,
think you
look.
understand what you're.
Here's the thing. Notice how I'm not over talking you. I let you say what you have to say. You're naming a couple of scientists or whatever, but you have no explanation from your own words because it looks like you're not sitting down with the information. I'm sitting next to my books, okay? I'm sitting next to every single one of my last textbooks about genetics, anatomy, physiology. What else is over there? Biology, neuroscience. I just quoted a book for you. I have 20, 30 different books that I'm sitting next to, and I have over 4,000 photos worth of sources. I do this shit all the time and I know what I'm talking about. But when I talk to people, I don't insult their intelligence. I ask them questions and I let them respond. I don't laugh. I don't insult their intelligence. I don't do none of that. And as a grown man, especially a BLK man, I'm very sad. I'm very disappointed in the way that you carrying your energy out with me. Explain to me how we're all genetically connected and biologically using genetic and biological terms, please.
What book are you getting your information from? I want to look up the author of it. I want
All
to
the
know more
books,
about that
all my
author.
books are pinned on my page, by the way. But Why Darkness Matters, The Power of Melanin in the Brain is written
No, no.
by
What's the
Dr. Edward
author's
Bruce
name?
Bynum, Dr. N.C. Brown, Dr. Richard King, and Dr. T. Owens Moore. They're neuroscientists and they're BOK.
Okay.
Let me know when
They're
you're
all
ready for the next one,
they're
but I'm about to introduce the next guest soon.
they're all BLK.
Yes.
All right. Let me get on my computer. I just got home.
Okay, cool. I'm going to talk to Andrew while you do that. Andrew, evolution is the biggest lie ever told. How do you feel about the topic?
Put their names in the chat real quick.
No, I just read them off to you, and I've done that a few times, so
it's simple to like
they're pinned on
honestly
my page. I just said that.
Well, I
set
got to get
him
off here.
for real. Like to shut him up, bro. Just look up different types of melanin. Obviously, people have different types of melanin. There's neuromelanin, there's theobromelanin, there's many different types, like 5, 7. You will know the difference, and you will see why this evolution makes no sense.
Like, you want me to help you debunk me better? Like, what the fuck? You got to go do the research, bro. You're the one that's trying to discredit what I'm saying. I gave
What,
it to you. You asked me
I'm
for
not,
it,
I'm not
letting me
trying to
know
have
that you
you
were
go
ready.
debunk
Nah,
anything.
here's the
I'm trying
thing. When you ask somebody for something, that means that you're ready. So don't tell me to repeat myself. You can really just get off the panel and go do your research if you don't have it. You don't have to stay on the panel, especially if you got to like check me over it and shit. You don't know what you're talking about.
And
So
look what
low
melanin
key,
does to the body. Look what it does to our
and there's
body
to.
8 different
I gave
types
and
of
you
your
some
melon.
husband's
names
body.
of
I
scientists
want you to
too. Did
really
you want to look
research
them
it,
up?
bro.
I gave you some names of scientists too. Did you want to look them up?
No, I don't.
Why
Do your
not?
Because
own research.
you didn't
Why
give
don't
me
you
an
want to look them up?
explanation. Yeah, I don't have to look them up because I already have my scientists. I already know what they're saying, and they haven't been debunked. You
How
haven't
do you
given me
know
a
that they're
premise.
not
Hold on for
biased
a
though?
second, watching. You haven't given me the premise though. That's
How
the
do you
thing.
know
You
they're
just
not
telling me
biased
they
though?
look.
You,
All right, the over talking, I really
they might
don't
be
do it.
biased.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks for
They might.
playing. Thanks for fucking playing. All right. Thanks for fucking playing. The fuck? Like what? What the hell? Chill. Like, all right. Evolution is the biggest lie ever. And you want to know something? I'll grab my other book, Morphic Resonance by Dr. Rupert Sheldrake. It literally says in here that biologists and evolutionary biologists don't even fucking agree on evolution. The fuck? Like, that's what I'm saying. The number one question in the world is how we went from haploids to diploids. There's no fucking scientist on the globe to date to the mega per second that can tell us how the fuck haploids turn into diploid cells. You up here trying to tell me about a Princeton? It doesn't matter. Can you explain to me the basis of evolution? I'm talking about the base premise. Of course, there's fact within the theory. Of course, we see dogs. Thank you. Okay, Epithecus, thank you for telling me you know the scientific name for a monkey. Yeah, how did this nigga get on the planet though? That's the question. That's what evolution is talking about, y'all. That's what it's talking about. Beansy, I ain't talked to you in a minute, bro.
You
I
said you
actually
can't
come
talk
up
to me,
here.
so I can't type in nothing.
Beansy
Crazy.
be doing Beansy
It
be
sounds
doing
like
his
you're running
research
from the
though.
conversation. You're running from the conversation. You're using biased scientists, and you're running from the. Unmute me, and I'll
Bias?
type in all the
They
stuff I
degree
find.
not biased according to your logic. Is their would their degree be biased?
Well, your name, you're
No, they
spewing off
actually got that. So
nonsense.
let's not try to discredit our own people. We were the ones that anciently had this information. So hold on for a second, Beansy.
So
You still
unmute me
think
so I can
evolution
type
is
in the
true?
comments.
Give me 1 second. Sorry, let him keep talking. I gotta hook up my earbuds. Sorry about that.
All right. I don't really
Yeah,
want to talk
unmute
to
me in the comments so
what
I
you
can type
think.
in these scientists for you.
Bro, can you explain to me the base premise of evolution and how it is true?
I want you to unmute me in the comments so I can type in these scientists for you.
I'm not the one who muted you.
Well, your mod did.
Just explain to me how the base premise of evolution is true for all organisms on the planet, please. You don't have to type that. You can just tell me.
No, no, I'm gonna type in a bunch of information you can go look up because
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
you
here's the thing. You playing. So I'll just wait for Beansy because he actually does his research, unfortunately. I want to see if he's still on the same shit though. Do you think that we're all the same species?
But yeah, always.
Okay. How are we genetically and biologically the same?
I mean, the fact that we share 96 to 98% of our genome with one another.
Um, all right, so your genotype is expressing your phenotype, which is directly connected, and we don't phenotypically present the same. So how is that true? And considering
I
the
don't know
fact
if
that we
that's. I
know
don't know that I
that,
would. Sorry, I don't know that I would say that our genotype is expressing our phenotype always, right?
yeah, I mean, it's a physical expression of what's taking place within your genetics.
Yeah, but there's a lot of feedback going on there because like every cell outside of our red blood cells have our entire genome in them, right? They don't express them all the time.
No, I'm talking about your full expression from your phenotype, the origin of your cells, the way that you express your behavior, your characteristics, your physical expression. Even when we look at hair cells, skin cells, like the origin and everything that comes from our bodies don't stem from the same embryological point because I don't naturally produce animal enzymes and proteins like all of y'all do. They're talking about y'all, like y'all are the so-called humans that share 90% with chimpanzees, 70% with dogs. That's never been biologically or genetically proven for our people. They've said and they've expressed, and we see through blood types, which are connected to antigens, that we have antigens that are attached to our red blood cells, but anciently we have not always had these antigens. They only began to be present within the blood when we began mixing with y'all. So it's about the amount that it comes down to the antigen. That's why I know you said something about blood. When it comes to the blood types are determined by antigens, which are foreign substances found in blood. My people shouldn't actually have these antigens because it goes against our genetics and our genetic expression. It taints the red blood cells and distorts them and distorts our behavior. But y'all actually are connected to animal DNA. So that's the reason why we see the phenotypic expression to be different, which is because there's different biochemical substances. So
So I'm
when
curious. I just want you to educate me on this situation. So you guys undergo like binary fission for cell
Yep.
reproduction, or what's the?
Yeah.
So how do you reproduce sexually? Just out of curiosity.
So asexual reproduction is really just an extension of sexual reproduction because we asexually created the man. Um, one single cell splits through binary fission and creates the daughter cell. So this is the reason why all of us start out as feminine in the body. There's one single substance called the anti-inhibiting Mullerian substance that is secreted, and we naturally already produce sperm, testosterone, and other androgens. So we're able to perform parthenogenesis by the stimulation of the Bartholin gland. And we're the only woman that is connected to being able to do and perform parthenogenesis based off of what we see left in stone.
What the fuck are
These
you
other,
talking about?
hold on, Christopher, we're having a conversation, so that's why you don't know what we're talking about. So yeah, hold on for a second. Don't overtalk me while I'm talking. Thank you. So the thing is that our women have been connected to doing parthenogenesis, us creating the man asexually and having and procreating with him today is the same extension because he's an extension of us. So that's what it is on a macro level. On a micro level, what you're asking about binary fission, the replication of that is the daughter cell, and it's that one substance that is secreted. That's the difference between male and woman. Other than that, you would be feminine. All of that genetic material, the chemical key for that is within the woman. That's the reason why.
Can I
Isn't
ask
the
you a question?
chemical cue for men in the man? How would it not be in the man?
Because it's the totipotent stem cell that she carries her entire life, or ovum. If we're referring to your women have egg cells or ovum, and your trying to use TikTok friendly language, your ejaculation is what is known as a zinc spark that sparks a pattern within her, but she's been carrying that cell her whole life. Her body is the one that actually does the splitting of the cells, feeding and giving the nutrition. You just sparked a pattern with her. But with y'all don't make replications like we do because y'all have
Can I
eukaryotic cells. Yeah, so
can
y'all,
I ask you
so
where can I ask you where you get your facts
Christopher,
from?
can you give me a second, please? I'm talking to Beansy and then I will get to you, all right? So,
So I'm really curious how you get different individuals from binary fission mechanisms. Are you getting
again, I just explained
recombination?
it
Are
to
you
you
getting
for
recombinations of your like nucleoid processes, or
you don't.
what's the mechanism here?
Yeah, it's the neuromelanin, the morphic resonance behind the neuromelanin is really like the consciousness behind the cell itself, and that's what I was getting to in the morphic resonance by Rupert Sheldrake, which is the nature of formative causation. So this is actually the consciousness behind what brings the cells together to be able to do this on a physical level, anyways. So again, y'all don't make replications of yourselves because y'all have alleles, which is recessive genes and traits. So you're unable to make copies, and that's why we see incomplete dominance. But incomplete dominance is not a thing with us because of how we actually reproduce, like you're saying, through binary fission on a cellular level.
Bullshit.
All right, so let me get to Christopher. Evolution is the biggest lie ever told. How do you feel about the prompt? What are you upset about? What?
Well, I'm not upset, but you do have primate DNA in you, and for you to say that a woman depicts that's insane. Tell me why it is that a woman doesn't look like me, but she has a child that looks exactly like me.
Exactly. So this is what I'm
Why is
saying.
that?
For y'all undergo something called incomplete dominance. It is not the same for you as it is for my people.
That's not what I'm asking.
Honest,
I'm asking
look,
why my son looks almost like a replica of
it
me.
is what you're asking. Like I said, it is incomplete dominance for you. For us, all of our genetic material stems from the totipotent stem cell. So we are
That has nothing
100%
to
on
do with
mega.
why my
But
son looks exactly
thanks
like
for
me.
playing. I don't do over talking and shit, and I asked you multiple times not to do that shit. You're asking me questions and then over talking me while I'm answering them. What the fuck? Animal genetics. Too many different genetics want to speak through one nucleus. Too many different animals want to speak at once. You got to learn how to tame that shit in here. You see what I'm saying? 25,000 to 30,000 different genes want to speak through one fucking nucleus through your ass, and you undergo a spliceosome type protein synthesis. So you're not even connected to yourself while even you trying to talk to me right now. All right, like y'all got to learn how to tame that shit, man. Let's see what Beaker. Who is this?
You're an
Kryptonian.
ugly, stupid nigger. Fuck you, faggot.
Oh, okay.
You ugly monkey.
Beans. Chris, can you take him down? I got him. And block him. Like, you see what I'm saying? They just like coming in here, F1 in the chat. Y'all like coming in here saying names, but you can't explain to me genetically and biologically how we're all connected. There's two life forms, two cellular form types on this planet, and my cells don't function like eukaryotes. They function like prokaryotes, right? Everything, all of your genetic material is received through the cerebral cortex from your mother. The first thing that formulates in embryology to bridge the gap from that to fetal development is the brain, 16 clumps of cells, the medulla. Your body essentially is built around that. Your skin is the latest extension of your brain. So that's what I'm saying. How if us at the first few clumps of cells is working towards formulating our brain, which graduates up through our anatomy, how the fuck are we the same? If it's a different embryological origin, sure, you're saying that I have a thumb, but all the cells in my thumb come from a different embryological origin than yours. So is this really a thumb? Or are you just calling that? Are you just calling it that? Science explains the functionality. You see what I'm saying? I don't know. Beansy, were you did you have something? They said, why do you have prokaryotes and I don't? What?
Guy that came up just a second ago was a different species. I'm not going to argue about that. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm really curious about like coevolution at this point. So if you're an entirely different species, right, and the thumb originated the same way, what are the mechanisms for a prokaryote to produce a thumb?
It's not about this is what I'm saying to you. The thumb is what it is being called, but science and the cells itself is explaining the functionality. Prokaryotes function where they get all of their genetic material from one origin. Your thumb is not really 100% of a thumb, considering that there is multiple genetic material functioning that one so-called thumb. So that's what I'm talking about. Your species is not considered to be one of 100% of anything, because like you're saying, Neanderthals procreated and interbred with Denisovans. Denisovans had introgress genes. Neanderthals had introgress genes. Y'all are saying that y'all share DNA with pigs, dogs, chimpanzees, bonobos, celery, potatoes, bananas, fruit flies, like all this different genetic material. But when we look at these animals, they also have introgress genes that only lead us back to genetic engineering. So that's what I'm saying. Prokaryotes, we're talking about the life form type, the functionality of how these organs cell, how their cells function, meaning that they are 100% a lion. That's a prokaryote, single set of chromosomes, right? Our people, we stem from the totipotent stem cell. Y'all come from like pluripotent, multipotent stem cells, you know? So it's not the same thing. Sorry for my loud background, y'all. But yeah, like it's, you see what I'm saying? You're saying every human does what, Steven? Every human does what? What are you talking
Wait,
about?
do you have a mitochondria or not?
No, because that's a organelle, and prokaryotes don't have organelles. Everything that functions our cells is the biochemical substance that is around the cell, which is the neuromelanin, which is what Why Darkness Matters by the 4BOK neuroscience is about. And this is what your counterpart, Rupert Sheldrake, wrote about in the morphic resonance of the nature of formative causation.
Sure,
So,
but so what about chloroplasts? You got a chloroplast?
no,
Are algae
there's a
not prokaryotes
nucleoid.
or
The only, so the we don't have like a nucleus, none of that. We have a nucleoid region. All of the cell is functioned and powered by the outside of the cell, the field around the cell, the consciousness around the cell. That's what I'm saying. We don't need any of that. Prokaryotes are compact and efficient enough to function on their own. Now, there are different types of prokaryotes, you know what I'm saying? But ours specifically are coated in neuromelanin, and that is proven by, like I said, I have 2 scientists on my page that prove that. Lots of other scientists have proved that there's a difference with our melanin. There are 8 melanin types, and we're the only ones that are connected to neuromelanin. So there's that.
isn't neuromelanin a dopamine derivative? I'm pretty sure, and I think it's located in
Neuromelanin,
everyone's brain.
yeah, y'all have in vitro neuromelanin that a lot of y'all don't begin to produce until like ages 3 to 5. So it's not even congenital for y'all. That was also proven like 50 years ago, or
So
well,
wait,
like 60 or
sorry, I'm
70.
confused. In vitro, so they're like culturing it, and injecting it into us, or is this like during my sleep, or when's this happening?
So all of the animals that you share DNA with are composed of in vitro synthetic neuromelanin and in vitro pheomelanin and eumelanin. So this is not the same type of pheomelanin and eumelanin that elephants or lions naturally produced in nature, where they get all of their genetic material from one single cell, one embryological origin. Y'all are a conglomeration of different species to make up your genetic and your genomic structure. So that actually breaks down to synthetic neuromelanin. It doesn't, you're not composed of atoms, it's calcium ionospores. So it's a synthetic compound and synthetic versions of melanin that y'all are connected to. And that's why y'all can only take or interact with UVA and UVB light, but we're able to, you know what I'm saying, like take the full spectrum because we're composed of neuromelanin. That's what neuromelanin is. It's condensed sunlight. That's what the book's
So
all
how
about.
so how are you generating ATP?
ATP, everything about our cells, everything about the way that we function is because of the neuromelanin outside of the cell. That's what functions the cell. We don't have a nucleoid region. We don't have anything that's organelle bound. I don't believe it's a membrane bound cell at all either. It's a prokaryotic cell, a single cell organism. All of its genetic material comes from the neuromelanin. And this is what is explained in what is it, quantum mechanics or classical mechanics. If you remove the field of an electron, it will no longer be an electron. Or if you remove the field from a proton, it's no longer a proton. So that's what I'm saying. Literally, because we're composed of these same atoms, uh, once the field is removed, the neuromelanin is removed, that is no longer that thing. And this is what the phenomenon of existence versus non-existence also talks about. But the neuromelanin is what functions the cell. We're light beings, literally down to a quantum level. Y'all are the ones that have kickstarts within your genetic structure, like with protein synthesis and the spliceosomes, retrotransposons and transposons. That's, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but that is the reason why y'all's reflexes are slow. It's
Wait,
because your DNA has
because
to
of
kickstart.
recombination?
No, your DNA has to kickstart itself to actually start sequencing. It has to get permission from other cells or other parts of the what's the word, like other part of the
I think you're
DNA
looking for
itself.
transcription factors.
Yeah, retrotranspositions. You have homeobox and Hox
Well,
genes, hamstrung genes.
well, no, those are body plan genes.
Nah,
Homeodomain genes are
eukaryotes
body plan genes. Yeah, and
eukaryotes
PAX6
have
genes.
homeobox and Hox genes.
Well, yeah, they're kind of important, right? We don't have a brain without them.
Yeah, they're saying that that is the main reason for evolution, actually, for y'all, for the evolution of eukaryotes. But that's not the thing for prokaryotes. We will continue to be the same way unless something unnatural takes place to us, and that's what I'm saying. There were no antigens prior to us coming in contact with y'all. Antigens only became a thing because of mixing. Ischemia, zoonotic transfer. I just posted a video about this on YouTube with all the sources in it because I talked about this the other day. I don't really have time to scroll through all those sources while I'm on live, but I did post them so you can see the breakdown for yourself on hemolytic disease and what occurs with eukaryotes, the different mutations that are caused by the sun. All those mutations are connected to y'all's DNA. We're not seeing that within our people. We never have. There's not one medical story that says that our people are mutating because of incomplete dominance and because of the sun and acute body radiation and photocarcinogenesis. We're not undergoing that because our cells are coated in the same light that the sun is emitting. It's the same interstellar
So
gas. It's the
what
same
about an
interstellar.
adaptation like sickle cell? How did that come about? Or are those like is that a mix of races again or whatever?
Yeah, all diseases, all of that. Every single disease, every single antigen, every venereal disease is connected to animal DNA. That literally sickle cell affects the blood. When the blood gets affected, the first place you see it is the phenotype.
What
So,
phenotype?
like, um, so with me and my experience, I grew up with three people that actually had that. Two of them are from so-called America, and one of them is from so-called Africa. To me, they both have lightened lips on the inside. Their nostrils are a little bit more enlarged, and they will undergo things like what is it called, jaundice, with the yellowing of eyes, because they need frequent blood transfusions because their blood is tainted, and that comes from having antigens. And when you look at those cells, that cell is not, the nucleoid region is not producing that naturally on its own. There's a when we look at the genes, there's a reason why that is actually happening, but that's not coming from the genome itself. That's like
Would you say that?
epigenetic
Would you
and
say that being
genetic.
sickle cell positive in a place with high versions of malaria would be beneficial to you?
Sickle cell and high versions of malaria? Hell no.
No.
No, fuck no.
Can malaria be transferred amongst sickle cell individuals?
I don't know, but the reason why I said that I wouldn't do that is because malaria comes is connected to mosquitoes,
Hmm.
which is a parasite that actually feeds off of blood, and they are attracted to toxins in the blood. That's what makes them bite you. They feed and procreate with the antigens that are in the blood because they need blood from other organisms to have children. So I'm saying that if my people are being affected by that shit, hell no. That's just adding more disease into their environment.
Wait, no. Being sickle cell positive doesn't add more malaria into the environment.
No, I'm talking about the malaria, and I'm connecting it to what the malaria is connected to mosquitoes. Wherever you see malaria, you see high amounts of mosquitoes, and I'm making the connection that that's just adding more toxins and diseases into their environment with the people that already struggle with that.
Yeah, but for them to survive malaria, it'd be beneficial, no?
Look, they're not supposed to have sickle cell or malaria. That's the thing. All of this shit is connected to y'all being on the planet. So the more that we see the breakdown of the eukaryotic cell with the UVC radiation that we now see ground level, y'all are, that eukaryotic cell is being removed, and that's why a lot of your people are getting smacked right now in Europe. The streets are melting. Them street lights is melting, and people over there are trying to create AC with their bare hands because that sun only see prokaryotes and eukaryotes. It only can tell if you're natural or not. And if you can't take that sign, you will be removed. And that's what we're saying. Your people in evolution theory is trying to say that y'all are the most fit to survive, but we don't see y'all actually being able to take and synthesize the sun on a chemical and on a biochemical level.
Wait, I don't know if I agree with that. You think that who says that we're the most fit to survive?
I'm saying y'all are saying that, that you believe in evolution. Evolution
No,
is
no,
talking
no.
about
Yeah, but
survival of the
that's
fittest.
no, that's not how evolution works. No, no, no,
No,
no.
I'm talking about every theory that is suggested under evolution, and I'm making this point about the survival of the fittest theory. How are you fit to survive in your environment when the sun is smacking the shit out of y'all? If the sun is what's tapping your ass, how are you fit for that environment? That's what I'm saying.
Because you're fit for your ancestors' environment. It's simple.
Okay. So this is what we're saying, Beansy, with the cells and the DNA, and that we as so-called neuromelanated people make replications. We are replicating the DNA. Only something unnatural can come along and taint the DNA, but that doesn't stop us from functioning the way that we naturally do on a cellular level, right? It just slows the process down, but it doesn't stop it from continuously reproducing like it's supposed to. When it comes to y'all are the ones where the sun is literally breaking your cell down. The sun is powering us up because it's a neuromelanated cell. You have the in vitro version and you have animal DNA. So that shit is being broken down and it's destroying the nucleus. It's called acute body radiation syndrome, photocarcinogenesis, and actually, I think I have it like right here. Yeah, here it is. Wait, that's about the hold on, that's about something else. We can
It's
talk about
RH
that too.
incompatibility. We
Yeah,
can talk
I'm gonna
about
get
that
to
if you want
that.
to.
Yeah, we can get to that second, but I'm on this right now. UV radiation is acknowledged as the primary cause of photocarcinogenesis. And so these are the different mutations that only y'all are connected to. The squamous cell carcinoma, basal cell carcinoma, what else is down here? Yeah, that sonic hedge Damn, I can't even talk. Sonic
Sonic
Hedgehog.
Hedgehog is
Yeah,
a morphogen factor, right?
yeah, CCC, regular, the regulator protein P53, the TP53, that CDKN2A, and then you also have 1P36. What else is out there? Hypertrichosis, vestigial tails is another mutation that we're seeing. Subcutaneous and cutaneous horns is another mutation that we're seeing. We're seeing y'all resort to eating fresh, unalived meat off of the street. Um, Everything that we see is that we're not seeing any of our people undergo that shit. Like I said, here's the Harvard geneticist right here that literally said that we're not the same. He literally said that all so-called non-African people are connected to Neanderthals, which have introgressed genes in animal DNA. He said we didn't. This is just one of many. So that's what I, you know what I'm saying? I would show y'all the pictures, but the live will get flagged. But I did have them posted in the last live that's on YouTube of the pictures of the mutations and what these people are looking like. But since you did ask me a question earlier about how the cell replicates, um, the methods of asexual division right there. If we look at budding, that's unnatural, right? The only types of ways that that is prokaryotic or biogenetic is binary fission or fragmentation, right? That's the and we can see this. Like I said, I'm sitting sitting right next to Why Darkness Matters, and they literally talk about the way that our cells splits and how it's coded in neuromelanin and how that functions the cells. I don't know. I know we're not the same.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure a Hydra would be a great example, right? Do you understand
Um,
why I'd say that?
yeah, it's not. I'm saying everyone besides that one. Yeah,
Well, that's
that
Bud
Hydra.
Hydra Bud, right?
Yeah, I mean that cell, the way that that cell is splitting and it conglomerates, comes together. That's not natural for the prokaryotic cell. Um,
Well,
I'm not
but
gonna lie. I need to
if
look
it's
at.
not natural, they're basically immortal, right? I think they live for like 7 or 8,000 years.
That's not immortal.
I To us, that's basically immortal.
Immortal is prokaryotes. That's why I keep saying the only life forms that have been on this planet in existence before more eukaryotes came into being through the process of evolution. That's
Wait,
what.
you're immortal?
Yes, that's why. Oh my gosh, you never heard of HeLa cells?
Yeah,
Wow.
I've actually
Yeah.
worked with HeLa cells, but I don't know that I would call them necessarily immortal either, and they accumulate a ton of mutations regularly.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, because you have somatic parthenogenesis in transfecting cells. So they found a way to mimic that cell, but they can't splice into the cell to actually like see the nucleoid region, if you know what I mean. HeLa cells are only connected to our women. Immortal replicating cells is what they call them because they're totipotent, meaning that they can differentiate into any cellular form type in the body. So that's the replication. They can differentiate and morphic resonance. You see what I'm saying? The morphic resonance and the morphology behind our cells is what's connected to us being genetically, and yeah, like the brother said, Henrietta Lacks. I don't see no YT, no Asian women, no other woman on this planet been connected to HeLa cells where we can see that their cells naturally are immortally replicating on their own without any type of introgression, without any somatic cell transfer, without any cell sonication, magnetofection, or nothing. That's not, they're not saying that about our y'all's women.
No,
And the
wait.
thing
No,
is,
wait. Hold on. I mean, what was done to Henrietta Lacks was absolutely unacceptable. I'm not going to argue about that, but you do know what that cell line was, right?
so yes, I understand that she was struggling with a disease, but I'm talking about the way that the
What
cells.
disease specifically was she struggling with?
What I'm saying is that here, what I can actually put up some information. That's what I'm talking about. So let me see. I think I had some people that was in the request box that wanted to come up. I know y'all been waiting for a second. Let me see. I think watching came back. Levi, and you have to look at everything that they're saying about the HeLa cells to understand that shit too, because these YT women, they don't say have HeLa cells. these so-called HeLa cells, our women have been the only woman on this planet said to have cells or DNA connected to an entirely different species outside of this planet. That's not true for any other woman on this planet, man. So, like I said, we're not all the same species because we don't stem from the same embryological origin.
So are you saying that other species can have babies with other species?
Hold on. Let me see. Goldie Craven, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm not to go off topic. I just wanted you to touch it while you were speaking. The new 6G network they're setting up. From what I read, the little I read on it, it was going to affect our gene cell makeup. Will it affect melanated people more than not?
Okay, so all of this is going to affect us because of its electromagnetic field. We're naturally supposed to be surrounded around magnetism, and our Earth is becoming more magnetic. So all of it, the phones is affecting you, the house is affecting you, the water is affecting you, everything is affecting the way that our cells function. But that's what this system is. That's why we have to rely less on it and start relying more on nature. And I was just muting you, brother, because there was some feedback on your end. But go ahead.
Yeah. So my
If you're eating meat, brother, if you're eating meat and sugar and shit like that, it's gonna affect you the worst. Because
Okay.
that's what this is doing. The cell, you already don't have enough light flowing through the body as is. So all of that is just gonna attack the cell and the environment anymore. And this is why I'm saying, like, the antigens that are attached to the red blood cells, they get fed, which take nutrition out of the blood. It takes nutrition out of the body, right? So you gotta get off of the meat, the processed food, the synthetic sugars, right? You need to be in nature more, grounding more, eating according to your genetics and not the blood type. So the blood type is determined by the antigen, which is the foreign substance. That's what these people added into our DNA over 4,000+ years worth of grape in mixing. So because we're eating meat, you keep them there. When you drink juice, when you eat the synthetic sugars, when you're going against your genetics, period, drinking, involving yourself in tobacco, things like that, you add antigens and you keep them there and present, and it helps replicate more parasites in the body, right? All of the parasites, I think they said for one single adult, there's 1 to 2,000 parasites within the body at once. And these parasites rapidly reproduce. So when you eat according to the antigen, you are feeding the parasite because that's what keeps them at bay. That's what keeps them reproducing and keeps the cell functioning against its genetics and sends neurotransmitters to the brain. And we already talked about the origin of the cell is the brain. So that, like, the food is the number one thing that we have to like work on because that's what feeds our cells. Our cells go through a cycle. You see what I'm saying? They break down, they release waste. You see what I'm saying? That gets you know what I'm saying, filtered through the body, right? If you don't give it the right ingredients, it's just gonna, toxins are just gonna keep building up. Waste is gonna keep building up.
Okay. According with the after the COVID shot, and now we have information about the nanobots that are inside. From what they said with the 6G, they're going to be able to like heat us up, like microwave us whenever they feel. They said a lot more people might die because of
Okay,
the
F1, please, man. Fuck, F1, please. We gotta say unalive. F1 in the chat, y'all.
copy.
Yeah, it's okay. If they flag us, hopefully we can improve it. Go ahead.
Right, but that was just something I was just curious on the fact that the nanobots are replicating and they need heat and they need heat. So I'm thinking what's going on in Europe and so forth. Some people are not just dying due to heat. I mean,
All right.
it's hard for
Yeah,
me to do
man.
that. I really don't
Yeah,
speak on
that's
this
why I
much.
say it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's just, you gotta just be mindful of it.
Yeah, a lot of people are getting unalive due to the situation, but it's not necessarily the heat. It's that they're somehow experimenting in terms of with the networks they're using, plus with this heat that's happening. how they label the unalive is due to the fact that they're not discussing the fact that the nanobots need the heat for it to function the way.
All the shot that you're talking about is the same. All these diseases that we're talking about have been on the planet since 541 AD, since the Justinian and the Byzantine era. They give you these same things at birth. When they give you 32 to 34 shots, they have the monkey semen, monkey kidney cells, snake venom. All of that is within the vac. You see what I'm trying to say? So the thing is like everything that they've already done to us like has been done, like, you know what I'm saying, the worst of the worst has been done, but you got to get off of the meat and shit. You got to get off of the meat, you got to get off of that, because the alkaline diet constantly keeps the body in a state of detox. It's if see, I gotta remove you because they saying that yeah, I didn't take you down, TikTok did. All right, so you'll have to you know what I'm saying, appeal it on your own. But yeah, exactly. That's what I was getting to, Style Maven, that the sun is also a cleanser. You have to give the body the right ingredients though. Because if you keep eating the meat, you're not cleaning it. You just going in the sun and then going back in the house, putting the same parasites and toxins back in the body. So you have to get away from it, right? You have to get on your bitter herbs, break the cravings. It'll take you 3 days to break cravings if you just have your bitter herbs, right? Strip your diet down, because the thing is with the meat, they already telling you that that's so-called human remains anyway. So nobody should even feel too bad about dropping that shit anyway. The fast food is the same thing, right? So these people need blood in order for their bodies to function, right? But we need bioelectric foods. We need light, sunlight, fruits, right? That's what our anatomy best responds to. What's my source for that? Dr. Delbert Blair, Dr. Llaila Afrika, who is very well versed in our anatomy and understanding the anatomical differences between us and everyone else. And then I also have like some other books pinned on my page as well about the diet and how we should be eating and feeding our anatomy. We don't respond best to meat and
So I
synthetic
got.
sugars. It causes autotoxins. Go ahead.
All right. So you're saying that there's two different species here, right, on Earth, right?
There's two cellular form types on the planet.
Okay. So are they able to procreate with each other?
Only because of introgression. When you're talking about so-called people, everyone else, these two cellular form types are only able to procreate due to introgression. That had to be done first because this other species was unable to procreate amongst themselves. They had to undergo genetic engineering to gain the bipedalism that they have today in order for them to even procreate. There was DNA and genetic incompatibility.
So how did they go through that?
What do you mean? What part? What are you
How were
talking
they
about?
able to, how were they able to do that?
How are they able to introgress genes?
Yeah. How are they
So
able to procreate with them? You said there's a process that they had to go through before they could do that. So what was the process?
So genetic engineering is the creation of the cell. It starts. We can look back at of 200 to 400,000 years of all life on this planet would have explained that genetic engineering was taking place. It depends on the frequency of the cell and the DNA that you're working with. The cell or the DNA might respond to electroporation or magnetofection more, or racemization or whatever. In order for them to work their way up to where they are today, you would have had to start small. And you see the evolution of so-called science and the tools that were used. We see that there was tampering in robotics in the 9th century that was being done amongst a select group. There's always a select group of scientists throughout their so-called history that have more so-called scientific knowledge and mathematical knowledge than everyone else. And these are the same people that we see today that are connected to the so-called 13 bloodline. So The people that are, or entities but are that are orchestrating this are not human. That's what you have to understand. They have a creator. The origin of the eukaryotic cell, or when we look at the word eukaryote, a simple Google search will tell you that that word means true seeded nucleus. So stories like Yakub or Pendar, Moloch, the Dragon King, Gilgamesh, Enki and Enlil, like all those different stories are explaining an entity splicing on this planet, which we seen left in the hardest stone known to man, or to their man. Hold on for a second.
Yeah, I was gonna say who created them.
There's the story of Yakub where it's talking about an entity splicing on this planet. But when we look at the Sumerian text, when we look at this entity depicted across the globe, he's holding like two of each animals up, and it's carved in stone. And this is what explains the story of so-called Noah in the Bible. So all these different stories are just talking about an entity splicing, but as far as the name, that's the only thing that keeps changing, is the fact that it's Pendar, or that it's God, or that it's Moloch, or that it's Yakub, or whatever the case is. I don't really get caught up in the name. I just know that there's 200,000 to 400,000 years worth of evidence on this planet that explains that some type of splicing was taking place, because kales didn't come from Earth's biogenetic processes, right? Cauliflower and broccoli and carrots and potatoes, including these people, whether it was so-called YT, so-called Asians, so-called Dravidians, when we look at the origin of all life in their cells, you either function like a eukaryote or a prokaryote. You either come from biogenetic processes or you come from spontaneous generation. And again, there's different types of, I'm saying that spontaneous generation because there's different so-called life forms based on how much light these cells are, or so-called synthetic light that these cells are able to hold on to, determines the type of species and the type of consciousness that it will have. And there's a neuroscientist that I actually posted on my page the other day. She literally explained this through debunking the 100 billion neuron theory, with turning brains into liquid soup, being able to count the brain neurons. And from that, she was able to connect the dots that the amount of neurons you have is connected to the amount of consciousness that you have. So there, again, these people don't have 100 billion neurons. Y'all are not as smart as y'all think y'all are, and that was proven by y'all own scientists. So y'all been walking around thinking that y'all have 100 billion neurons when y'all are sitting at about 70 to 80 billion, if that. Because of incomplete dominance, it would have to vary. And so when we look at these brain scans and shit like that, y'all have small, minuscule amounts of that dark pigment in the substantia nigra in the brain. And like I said, that's the in vitro synthetic version. That's not the neuromelanated version that my mother naturally creates through 48 different shades. So yeah, like we not the same species, and everybody is talking about that every day. So y'all just
So
gotta understand the terminology behind how the scientists are saying it.
if just because you have dark skin now, doesn't mean that your ancestors thousands of years ago didn't have dark skin. Is that possible?
When you say dark, can you be more specific? Because so-called Dravidians are dark, but I have a different texture. My cells come from a different origin. They hair fall down to the ground like a dog. So when you say dark, dark of what? Considering
How
that
do you
there's 8 different
how
types of
do you
melanin, which pigment
have you
are you
taken
talking
any kind
about?
of DNA test?
Which
Like,
pigment are you talking about?
well, what I'm saying is like, just because you have dark skin now doesn't mean that thousands of years ago your genealogy could have been somebody with paler skin. So do you have any type of like testing that you've done to show that you're just this one type of species? I'm just curious.
So the thing is, you're asking for testing, but we can look at I just asked you a simple question. When it comes to me and the Dravidian man, we can look at each other and tell that even if you go in so-called India right now and you find a Bollywood woman, you stand her next to me, she's going to, number one, be emitting a smell, You're going to smell animal proteins and enzymes. You're not going to smell that on me. That's a genetic expression. Number two, we're going to see that her hair falls down to the ground like a dog, and that her hair is connected to in vitro pheomelanin or eumelanin. The eumelanin, the dark, deep brown that you're talking about, is eumelanin. That's not neuromelanin like how we naturally produce. Number three, you're going to also see that this woman can't take the sun and that her cells can only interact with visible like UVA and UVB. But if me and her were to stand in the sun for 8 to 12 hours a day, guess who you think would be most fit for a challenge like that with no water? I wouldn't need water. I wouldn't be tired. I wouldn't be sweating. I wouldn't be undergoing acute body radiation. I wouldn't be undergoing no type of photocarcinogenesis, nothing on a cellular level, because I'm actually built for the environment no matter where I am on the planet. So you asking me about testing, but we can just test the sun. That's what evolutionists talk about. We could do the simplest test, 8 to 12 hours in the sun right now, right?
So
Who can take
you
the
can
sun? And when I say
you
take, I mean biosynthesize. Whose cells are going to be able to synthesize the sun? Whose integumentary system is going to convert that UVC radiation into chemical energy in their body? Mine.
so
Mine.
you can agree that over time there's been a lot of like mixing, correct?
Yes, there has.
Okay. So what I'm saying to you is there's no way for you to know that you weren't mixed and then you have mutated cells, correct?
Well, here's what you don't understand. See, you know what? You know what? See, this is what's going on, chat. See, who is this? What's your thing? 612? Child, are you a what? Who? Damn, I can't even see. Number one, you sit up here trying to ask me questions and think you trying to debunk me instead of coming here with your facts and your knowledge. You low key usurping my energy. I don't like that shit. You really low key like asking me questions and be like, oh, well, what about this though? Would you say that? Look, be for real with me, okay? Like, if you don't know what you're talking about for real, you really shouldn't be up here for real. You should be able to walk this shit down. If I'm wrong, tell me. Don't ask me questions. Be like, is this right? Is that what you're saying? That's
I'm
not
just
a genuine conversation, bro.
I'm just having a conversation about
It's
what you
not.
said.
It's not. It's not
Why
because
are you,
you
why are
came
you
up here
getting
telling me that I was wrong, though. You came up here telling me that I was wrong.
but I'm asking
You
you
were telling me I
questions.
didn't know what I was talking about, so you should be telling me how I'm wrong, and instead you asking me question after question, though.
Well, I'm asking you questions so I can get to that point.
Go ahead and
But
tell. No, no. What the? Go at get. Look. Get
get
to the
there.
look.
Trust me.
This is like your what? Third, fourth time. You look. You should have been at the point. You've been up here 3, 4 times. You at the point, bro. Go ahead. How do we go from haploids to diploids? 1, 2, 3, go.
So what I'm trying to explain to you is over time everybody's been mixing. So there's no way that you can tell me that you did not have uh, a pale skinned person in your genealogy.
So again, when it comes to the origin of the cell, it doesn't matter. Well, look, who you are is dependent upon your mother. It doesn't matter about mixing when it comes to a macro level. All right.
Yeah,
So
but you know
hold on for a
phenotypes
second. This is basic biology. Hold on for a
yeah, but
second.
your
Hold on.
phenotypes
Hold
change over
on.
time.
You cut me off while I was trying to explain. Hold on. Again, you are 100% your mother's child. Even your father got all of his genetic material from his mother. This is how DNA works. This is what they're explaining through the so-called mitochondria, mtDNA. Your mother and her look.
Have a
I'm gonna give you one last time, man. I'm gonna give you one last time. The totipotent stem cell she has her entire life. The father comes along and sparks a zinc spark pattern. From there, he just sparks or ignites a pattern. From there, that single cell splits itself through binary fission and continues to replicate into the being that you are today. So again, all of your genetic material stems from your mother's totipotent stem cell or the ovum, right? It does not matter who the father is, considering that the father does not carry the totipotent stem cell. This is ninth grade biology. And this is also the basis of understanding totipotent stem cells, pluripotent and multipotent stem cells. Okay. So the thing is that these women have ovum, and if you procreate with them, they will not be making that replication of themselves throughout the cellular division process due to an excessive amount of alleles and different embryological origins. When it comes to our women, though, our cells naturally split through binary fission. So whoever the mother is whatever the child is, no matter how the child phenotypically presents. The child could be so-called YT in your opinion, but where does that so-called YT, where does that come from? The mother cell, right? He just sparked a pattern. The origin of the cell is within the mother. This is explained even when we see IQ. Again, the first thing that forms in cellular division is the brain, right? 16 clumps of cells forms the medulla, which is the brain. 40 to 60% of your IQ comes directly from your mother, and the rest is influenced by your environment. Considering that all of your immune system, the skin that you keep mentioning, several different parts throughout your biology and your anatomy is directly corresponded to the mother. So even when it comes to the father, when we look at his embryological origin, it would be his mother. That is how everybody, the true expression for this planet, everybody that's on this planet is truly mothers and their children, actually.
So
And that's because of the
what
origin of
if I
cells.
heard you say that you didn't have a mitochondria? Did you not say that
Hold on
before?
for a second. You said you're asking me about the mixing, right? And you're trying to prove that we're all the same. And you said because of mixing. I
Well,
just
you said
explained. Yeah, I
earlier
just
you no, I'm
explained.
not saying that. I'm saying earlier you said you didn't have a mitochondria.
Yes, I said that because the neuromelanin is what functions the cell. It's the morphology behind the prokaryotic cell. Yes.
So how can you
Mhm.
have a baby and then they have one?
Bro, are you for? Like, okay, sexual reproduction in the zinc spark is sparking a pattern within the woman. So what do you mean? How can she have a baby? Are you talking about these two
I'm talking
people? I
about
just
you.
explained
I'm talking about
it's we
you.
can procreate with
You
these
said
people
you
because
don't.
of introgression. When we
Yeah, but you're
first
saying
came,
you didn't have a
uh,
mitochondria.
okay.
That's what you said. You said you don't have one. So how can your baby have one?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You said you do not have a mitochondria, right? Which is the
The
powerhouse of the
origin
cell.
of the cell. So if the mother is BLK, the origin of the child's cells would be the mother. That's what I just explained. That's explained through the mother effect. MT so-called DNA is what I said. I didn't say, I said this is what is explained through the theory of so-called mitochondria. I didn't say that we had a mitochondria. I explained the function and the difference between the eukaryote and the prokaryote, and I explained to you why it wasn't the same. Ciao. Look, I'm trying to get you to explain to me how we are all the same. So again, we can only
Our
procreate
DNA
with
shows that we're
YT
all the
women
same.
because of introgression. Just because you see something doesn't make it natural.
We're all the same. Our DNA is 99.9% the same.
Can you
So
prove that?
yeah, easy.
Starting with embryology, please. And can you use embryological, genetic, and biological facts?
You can look it up and see that
No, no,
we're
no, no,
all
no.
homo.
You said that you knew, and you're in front of
Yeah, we're
128
all
people who have
Homo
been trying to
sapiens.
discredit everything that I'm saying. So,
Yeah,
starting with
because
the
millions of
embryological
white
origin,
people come
the
from
genetics
fruit
and the
flies.
biology, can you explain to
You
me how
can't
we're all
tell
the
me
same?
any information that shows us that white people come from dogs and fruit flies. There's no
Isn't
science
that the
backing that up.
information that you're saying that we have?
But a
Aren't you
biased
saying that we're all the
information.
same?
We are. We're all
Okay,
Homo
so then
sapiens.
you show that to me. The fuck? I already told you the books that I'm sitting next to.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
they're
just
all
go and
biased.
click on,
They're
no,
all
look.
biased.
I don't just click around on Google all day. I actually sit down with the phenomenons for a few months. All right. I studied the brain for 6 months before I ever spoke about it.
All right. Well,
All
they're
right.
all
So the thing
biased.
is
The
I'm,
people that you're
all
quoting are
right.
biased.
Thank you. I'm going to get to the next guest. Milo.
Yep. You hear me?
They're all
Yeah, you
biased. If
requested
you
up.
look
What
at
was
the
the reason why
research
you
that they're
requested up?
saying,
I'm going to get to the next guest. Milo. Milo, you're going to have to swipe down on your screen and bring it back up because everybody just heard that echo and then you can go. Milo, you're gonna have to swipe down on your screen and bring it back up. I'm gonna actually disconnect you, swipe out of your app, and then come back in. Like, damn. Come on, y'all. Just because we can procreate with these people today does not mean that we're the same. When we first came in contact with them, They wiped out 2 continents plus others alone due to toxic seminal fluids. If we were the same species, that wouldn't happen. Each time our brothers and our sisters procreate with these other people, ischemia gets invoked. Hemolytic disease, zoonosis gets invoked. All right? So the thing is that if we were the same species, that would not happen. That is genetic incompatibility. And this is the reason why the ROGAM shot was created in the 60s, to help blanket that process of the unalive of the woman. The woman will literally look at her own fetus as foreign to her body and begin to attack and unalive it because of genetic incompatibility. This also happens with them because of incomplete dominance. A YT mother and an Asian father, that's incomplete dominance. Those same things will be invoked on a cellular level for them. This is why they get tested before they have children, to make sure that they are compatible enough to even have the children, because of the RH factor. You see what I'm saying? These blood types, these antigens, right? So zoonosis and hemolytic transfer and ischemia doesn't get invoked between two BLK people, whether we have antigens or not, because we're the same fucking species. All right? Now, somebody may be eating against their genetics. If you're eating bread and cheese and milk and shit like that, you probably will have chlamydia. Because if you're eating that, you have yeast in the body. And yeast, in the presence of yeast, is connected to antigens. That's what I'm talking about. If you're eating these things, you already have antigens connected to the red blood cells. You're feeding it every single day. Right? When you talk about the blood type, that's talking about eating according to the antigen. Antigens determine blood types. Right? So O positive blood, like people talking about, oh, that's the oldest blood type. Cool, but it's connected to zooborn chimps and pigs. Right? So that's the thing. That's due to mixing. That's due to grape. That's due to us mixing with these people and the fact that they're connected to animal DNA. You can even study the bushmeat trade. You can study environmental law, right? Because the environmentalists, the lawyers for like the people that actually enforce like which species is considered to be endangered, right? These are the people that will fight the legality for, people that are treating dogs or cats wrong, or people selling, animals illegally, or their fur and stuff like that. This is where diseases gets transported across the globe. And it's because bushmeat is not just in so-called Africa, like people like to say. Bushmeat gets transported around the world. So just because the bushmeat is different in India, pigs is bushmeat. And they have venereal diseases. And these venereal diseases, you eat them and you just slap barbecue sauce on it. That's the same thing, right? Cats. A lot of these Asian people, I grew up, I'm born and raised in Texas. There's a Chinese restaurant in West Texas. And they got shut down by the health department because they found different cats in their mutilated cats in their trash can. That's bushmeat. That's why they chicken don't look like nobody else's when you go in there, and especially getting that gas station food, the gas station Chinese food, right? Chicken is bushmeat. And their genetics is only 2,000 years old. All right? A cow is bushmeat. All right? So it's not just the shit that they selling on the streets in India. Yeah. It's what they're shipping. It's all the meat across the globe being shipped. This is where the diseases come from. Somebody said, they was like, Schmermola virus, right? They were like, oh, that comes from eating bats. Who the fuck was eating bats? Now I gotta ask. Whose genetics and DNA expresses to eat animals? Who the fuck was eating bats? And this is where the diseases come from. These people find animals, you see what I'm saying, suitable to eat and to procreate with. You ought to study what they're saying, the origin when it comes to the bats. This is where batshit crazy comes from. Blind as a bat was because they were STABBING, the bats in their eyes, in the basement of their homes, y'all. So we got to understand the origin. Hold on, Jake. I see you eager. Give me a second, man. Give me a second to land my plane, all right? So this is where the origin of this stuff comes from. A lot of the things that we've adopted across the globe and we call culture is nothing more than cultivation. That's how these people get down, and they forced it on us, right? So let's see, Jake, go ahead. You want what did you want to say?
I want to know why you're repeating eugenics theories in 2020.
Hold on for a second. Evolution, the biggest lie ever told. How do you feel about the prompt?
Oh, you don't care about your repeating eugenics, weirdo? So you're just getting
No, I
paid to
don't know
do
if that's
this?
gonna flag the live F1 in the chat. So I don't know if that's a TikTok friendly word or not, but try not to say that. Well, Chris already blocked you. Never mind. But let's talk about the topic. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm on my, yeah. Let's see. Milo, I've already talked to you. BU, did you mean to come up?
You haven't talked to me. You dropped me because I
Oh,
couldn't
hold
speak.
on, Milo. BU, did you mean to come up? Okay, I don't think they did. Go ahead, Milo.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question. So when you say
You back
these
again?
people, sorry,
Didn't I talk to you the other day?
it's not the other day. It's some time ago.
Oh, like a week or two ago? Was
No, I
that
think
you? Did you
more.
change your picture or have I actually talked to you? Because if I've talked to you, then we finna pick up from where we left off.
I don't think. I don't. I think you're confusing me with someone else.
Uh, are you the one? Okay, go ahead. Evolution, the biggest lie ever told. How do you feel
No,
about the prompt?
I wanted to ask you a question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you say these people, you're talking about just like white tees or everyone outside
See,
of?
Milo, I already talked to you before, man. See, look, I'm
It's
not.
a simple question, though. It's a simple question.
I have already answered your question before. That's why I'm telling you that. I'm not finna do these same 3 to 5 questions with you again. Cause I talked to you for 4 hours already, man.
No, you haven't talked to me for
Yes, I
4 hours.
have. Why? Yes, I'm talking about everybody outside of us is a different species than us. Go ahead.
Okay, that's great. Um. All right. Okay. So when it comes to us, how do we get here? And when it
No,
comes to the regular,
nah. Am I
it's a simple
tripping? I
question.
know y'all
No,
were in
you're
that
not
live.
tripping.
That I know you're the same account, man. And I'm look, go in here and state your premise. That's why I'm telling you, state your premise and just tell me what you want to say. I'm not gonna go through that whole rigmarole with you again when I already did that.
Oh,
Just
so okay,
go.
you don't want to answer the question. Okay. Um. So I believe that yes, like sub-Saharan Africans, they are we are the indigenous people of the planet. But I would also include in this group everyone else, like Asians, Arabs, Turks, Native Americans, outside of the Caucasians. Because I think the Caucasians, they're the ones to not be part of this environment. They're the ones that came in here. What do you think of that?
Okay, so the thing is that have you studied any genetics or biology of the people you talking about that you're saying is the same as are you so-called black?
I am, yes.
Okay, so have you studied the genetics and the biology behind these other people?
No, I haven't.
So then how would you know that they're the same as us?
You tell me.
No,
That's why I
see, this
believe.
is the type
That's
of
why
shit
I
I be
believe.
talking about, man. You said it out of your mouth that you think that they're the same. And I
Yeah,
said
I
that they're
think. I don't.
not.
I'm not.
And
I'm
then
not a
you said,
geneticist.
and then
Maybe
you
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 know
don't
better
have
than
to
me.
be a geneticist. You made a claim and you should be able to back that up. Now you're telling me to tell you what you thought I no.
No, I.
You're
I
saying
said
that
I
you think
believe.
they're the same, so you
I
should
said
tell
I
me
think.
how.
I
Yeah,
said
so
I
what
think. I'm not a
what made you
geneticist.
think that? What made you think that?
Because if you look at history, these people, like we different, but we kind of the same in a sense. And if you look at history and human civilization, everybody has been has come in contact with these people, with these white tea people. Not only us, but the Indians, the Asians, the Native Americans. So that's why I consider the white teas to be the outsiders. But in terms of genetics and their DNA, I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, you can tell me that if you know better.
I just explained it to the boy before you. about the embryological origin. The last time I told you, not the last time you were in here, not only did I tell you, my other half told you. So we've literally collectively, I've already told you four, and I know in that live, we told you like 6 or 7 times. So I'm
No,
not
you
explaining that shit to you again, bro.
no you
If
you
you
haven't.
say,
You
look,
said
I'm gonna come clean. I'm not playing either because my energy, I really value it. So the fact that you trying to still go round and round for me is really kind of pissing me off, and I'm trying to keep it respectful. You just heard,
yeah.
even if you look, Milo, even if you weren't in here and you're saying you're somebody else or whatever, you just heard me explain that to the boy in what you know what I'm saying? You was in the request box the whole explanation. I just explained to you that the cells in our body do not stem from the same embryological origin. So we would not be the same species biologically or genetically. So you're saying that you think that we are. If you think that, how come you haven't done any research for that?
Okay, can I ask you a question, Sky watching?
No, no.
It's simple. It's a simple question. I'm just trying to get your perspective. I'm not trying to ask dumb question. It's a simple question to get what you believe, because I
I
already know
already
what I
told
believe.
you that I believe in genetic engineering and introgression, and that's what checks out to be true. It's not even a belief. I told
Okay.
you that the other day because you're the one that came in here about the retro transfusion, right?
No, it's not. It's not me.
Yes, it
That's not me.
is. Yes, it
No, I
is,
don't even know
bro.
what that is. I don't even know what that
Yeah,
is.
you were talking about the fusion of the two chromosomes.
Oh yeah. That was me. That
So
was me.
you lying? What the fuck?
No, but that's not what I that's not the word I use. I never used the retrofusion or
Well,
something
I
like that.
probably said it wrong, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. I've
Okay.
already talked to you, so since you just admitted that, thanks for playing. Don't do that shit no more. You thought that shit was funny? It wasn't. The fuck? Yeah, he did lie. Will I am? Go ahead.
Peace, sister. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead, brother. Welcome in.
Okay. Yes. First of all, I want to applaud you, sister, for your wisdom and your knowledge. It's good to see young women, men and women of our people waking up and putting this out there. You doing a tremendous job. And I want to add to this. Our people our DNA is older than the planet itself, and people need to understand this energy that we are and how you are breaking it down eloquently. We're older than this planet, our DNA, because our DNA is so valuable in the universe that it's broken down into generations. So uh, they, I mean, there's no way that this guy was up here earlier. He was trying to make it seem like that we all had the same bloodline. It was like we came from them. That's what trying to insinuate those type of things. And these people need to sit down, shut up. It's a wrap. These sons finna take care of you. Y'all ain't got to worry about arguing with us no more, because now y'all gonna have to deal with that son. Y'all already see what the son doing to y'all asses over there in Europe. So we just need to sit back, get our energy together, get our blood together, get all our energy and stuff together, and let Mama Universe take care of them, because she's finna wipe their ass out. And I land.
Nah, facts, my brother. Really, no lies told. Our DNA is genetically proven to be older than the planet itself, right?
Exactly.
So
Yep.
that's the thing. That right there, well said. I'm grateful that you came up here and talked about the sun, because the sun is removing the eukaryotic cell. It's not even just these people. It's the animals. It's
Yep.
the insects. It's the plants. And
Yep.
anybody that's not eating according to their genetics, it will be hard for you to make this shift, because you
Yep.
need to be constantly creating that environment for your cells to properly communicate with the sun. So facts, my brother, and gratitude for sharing that. Let me see what who is this? 50 and Queening. Go ahead. Let me see, you're on mute.
Oh, I'm
There you
sorry,
go.
hon. I don't think I meant to come up. I was getting out of my car. I must have hit it. I apologize. But you're doing great, baby. You're doing great. I love it all.
Gratitude. Thank you. Okay, gratitude, y'all. Let's see. Yeah, so I just came on here to tell us that we're not the same species, you know? Our children need to understand that. We need to start embodying that. We need to start enforcing that. You see what I'm saying? We need to start entering overstanding that that's not just because of our skin, it's about what our skin is composed of, right? It's not just because we're so-called BLK, but what that so-called BLK is composed of. That's the reason why everything is happening to us. The way that it is because they understand how potent our DNA, the stem cells, the adrenochrome, our organs, our embryological origin, and how powerful they are. They literally help power up a lot of these accumulators, orgone energy accumulators, black body radiators, these particle accelerators. Our cells and the elemental composition, like the same elements, the same I can't think of the word right now, but the same elemental structure that they use to construct those things is found naturally within our DNA, naturally within prokaryotic life, period. All right. So let me see. Sheila, what did you request stuff for? Welcome back.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
So we are the blueprint as far as the woman. We are the blueprint to everything else genetically. That is my question.
Wait, you're asking if we're the blueprint? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we hold the chemical key for creation, meaning that um so basically, when we were on that last live and we were talking about the atoms that vibrate at a speed that turn into molecules that turn into cells, which turn into tissues and create the organs and so forth,
Yes, ma'am.
that is the explanation for that. That when a prokaryotic cell comes into fruition on a physical level, it's the so-called black woman.
Okay. Do you remember me saying the tree of life
Yeah.
earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The tree of life is it's our brains and I guess the neutrons, the neons, our spine, and we're grounded with earth and everything is lit up on that. I'm trying to send you the picture that I'm talking about that explains everything about what you're saying. But I don't know how to do that, but give me a minute. I'm going to mute myself.
Okay.
All right. Can you please explain that as far as we are the original blueprint?
Yeah, we're the original blueprint because we're a ubiquitous and an amorphous species, meaning that are the same things that construct stars and that construct the land, the same processes, like the same tectonic processes versus the like the sister said earlier in the chat, scaffolding. Our cells naturally scaffold themselves, and I've talked about that in my past lives. I put that on the board explaining the steps to create the universe. Like we can basically sum it up in 7 steps or less. And so the consciousness behind constructing the DNA or constructing the universe is what we're talking about with dark matter energy, with neuromelanin, with consciousness, morphic resonance, morphology, right? So what gives us the blueprint is bioluminescence or light. And the light is consciousness. That's why you have to be eating light foods. That's why you need to be in the sun and take in light, because the sun is a recorder, right? That's why they say corona, recorder, or corona, meaning the sun. The sun is a recorder. The same thing that there's a portion of our womb anciently that's been classified or linked where the translation was camera. I can't remember the language. I apologize. I'll have to grab that. But there's a language anciently that translated the womb into meeting a recorder. And when we look at the cells, the totipotent stem cells make replications, right? The recorder, actually, I take that back, y'all. It wasn't recorder, it was camera. That's what it was. The sun is a recorder, but the translation for the womb is anciently known as camera, right? And the camera makes spitting images of itself, just like we do on a cellular level and on a biological level and binary fission. Binary fission we see modeled in the sun with nuclear fission, nuclear fusion. The binding of atoms is the same thing that takes place when we're in gestation, right? With, I'm saying, creating life, or with conception. So everything that we see modeled in nature, from the cyclical processes, the biogenetic processes, tectonic processes, we see will continue to be the same throughout all prokaryotic life forms unless something unnatural takes place to it. So we'll see the slowing down or the taintedness, but as far as the mechanism from how our cells function, they can never stop that. So that's the explanation and the breakdown for that. I hope that, like, you know what I'm saying, makes a little bit of sense that whatever the stars do, is what we do because we are light just like they are. Stars have different bioluminescent or bioluminosities like we do. They all share the same genetic blueprint minus a 0.2% uniqueness. They're composed of the same interstellar gases and nanodiamonds for the most part, except for that 0.2% uniqueness, and that 0.2% uniqueness determines how bright they actually shine. And so that's what I say, like the so-called black woman can create 48 known shades of herself. It's still the same embryological origin, you know what I'm saying? It's just different expressions of the universe.
Hey, sister, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Uh, it's so that so basically we got the same DNA as the universe when we're talking about the atom, the 6 neutrons, 6 protons, 6 electrons, with the quarks, the zeros, and so forth inside the atom. Can you elaborate on that, or am I correct, or am I wrong?
Yeah, when we look at the expression of electrons and protons, we're seeing divine masculine and feminine energy. The electrons pass photons to other electrons, meaning that the electron passes light to herself, right? And this is the quantum mechanical explanation of parthenogenesis and being able to spark her own light. Anciently, we've seen in parthenogenesis that is technically not incapable of doing due to the essence of due to the phenomenon of the inductor theory with the polar body plus the cell, which we break it down again into the morphic resonance and the morphology, which is the explanation behind the inductor theory. So I'm gonna read an excerpt from, what is this? The Great Cosmic Mother. And I'll have to post this whenever I load the live. I'll post a clip of this in the live. But it says here that parthenogenesis is not technically impossible. Every female so-called egg contains a polar body with a complete set of chromosomes. That's a prokaryote, right? A single set of chromosomes, single embryological origin. And it says that the polar body and the totipotent stem cell, if united, could form a so-called daughter embryo. And literally, when prokaryotes split, they split through binary fission, which is known as the daughter cell. Right. So parthenogenesis takes place every single day. And it says here parthenogenesis is a cloning process, right? This is why we see them working so hard in these laboratories to clone or to replicate through somatic parthenogenesis, somatic cell transfer, with the creation of these different organisms because they're trying to mimic the great mother. So
Right.
yeah. Let's see. Ebony AF, did you want to say something?
Yes, peace. Thank you for letting me come up. I am really enjoying your live. It's been a very, very long time since I heard somebody drop knowledge like you dropping it. So peace to you. Thank you for doing that. But I had a question regarding eating for your genetics. What can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, first of all, gratitude, my sister, for those kind words and for saying that, you know what I'm saying? And the thing is for eating according to the genetics means that we should be consuming fruits that come from the same origin as us, meaning that Earth needed to produce them. They don't need to be hybridized. So 98% of apples are unnatural, but the apples like the Malay apple, or what is it called, like the Jamaican apple or something like that, is a biogenetic fruit, right? When we look at grapefruits, they've been hybridized between the parent fruit of pomelo and a sour orange. So we should stay away from grapefruits, but we should choose the pomelo because the pomelo is something that Earth naturally creates. So the fruits and vegetables that we need to eat need to be native to our planet. It needs to say native to the Americas or native to Asia, native to Africa or whatever the place is, because this is all the same planet. This is all the same land. All of this land emerged from the same embryological point. So the thing is that if it's been hybridized and if it's been heavily domesticated, we should stay away from, because the domestication over time is for, yeah, Chris has, I just posted a list, on my page for alkaline fruits, vegetables, mushroom, oils, sugars, everything I could think of.
Okay. I'm
And
checking that
so,
out.
yeah, I have that. But and then I also have a reference or a sources list in the last slide of that, so you can see where I got all that information from and how I actually compiled that list. But yeah, they need when we look at things like quinoa, because I get a lot of questions about quinoa. Quinoa is barely alkaline. That's why I don't eat it. It's barely alkaline. Yes, it is naturally occurring, but the way that these people have domesticated over time is to better fit their anatomy, is to better fit their genetics, right? So the way that they're processing it through high heat and pressure with the centrifuge, washing it and drying it, leaves it between like 6.9 and 7.2. So when you cook it, it's just going to drop the alkalinity even more. So technically, it's really not alkaline. It's barely alkaline, and when it's cooked, it's I would say that it's not. So I would say like your forbidden rice, your wild rice, you know what I'm saying? That's a better grain. And then also like your sorghum, your millet, chickpea flour, lentil flour, coconut flour, your nut flours. But yeah, we want to feed our genetics, meaning that it needs to come from nature. It can't be a product of splicing, crossbreeding, or crossbred between this or grafting or nothing like that. Nothing like that. Nothing like
Okay,
that.
It makes sense. Thank you for that.
I have
Mm-hmm.
a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with these data centers that they are trying to put into the poor properties in the United States? I mean, the data centers.
The data centers are for them. They've really been working on that. When you read the Great Cosmic Mother has a section in there for patriarchy, and it's thick. I mean, you would never think that a book like that would expose the head of the CIA or the construction of patriarchy for where we are today, starting small, and all the people and everything they were doing behind closed doors, but it does. And it talks about a pre-optic or a pre-utopian society where the construction of the heavy surveillance in this country started back as far back as the 13th century. So the data centers are basically just a physical, like more of it's just them further pushing their agenda because, like the brother just said, the YT people and everybody else is getting off of the planet. The eukaryotic cell is being removed. The entity that created these people is trying to transfer their consciousness into an inanimate object, i.e., robots. So they're trying to push the agenda of ushering in robots like we see it modeled in like iRobot with Will Smith. That's exactly where we're headed. And before it gets like that, I'm taking my ass in nature. Absolutely. I will not allow myself to live amongst and have robots enforce these type of laws on me or to be compared to robots in any shape, form, or fashion. But that's what's up with the data centers is for them taking AI to the next level, so that way there's another type of consciousness that can oppress the
Okay,
natural people of the
okay.
planet. Yeah.
I have one more question for you.
Hmm.
If they are doing the AI as they are, and that movie came out a long time ago,
Hmm.
Miss, what was her name? Miss Bubbles. She said that 5%, 95% is not themselves. So
So
what does
this
that
is
mean for us now?
So this is why I know I didn't say that. So she said that. I would say you would have to ask Bubbles to actually explain that
Okay,
because I didn't agree with none of that was said.
okay,
That's all that I'll say on that. But there's people that are supposed to be on this planet, and this is us and our life forms, and then you have these people that aren't supposed to be. That's the basis of it. Prokaryotes versus eukaryotes, because that's all the sun recognizes is natural life versus unnatural. The sun is actually trying to heal all life form types, but their cells can't take it. The sun actually is, you know what I'm saying? That the radiation hits their cells and it's like, what the fuck? It gets confused and begins to combust and break down. So yeah, when it comes to 95% NPCs, the only thing that I could explain for that is that a lot of our people are woke, plus you got unnatural beings. You see what
right.
I'm saying? Like that's I don't know if that's the route she was gonna take with that because I would. And I talked about that. I literally have ran lives before a long time ago where it said 95% of the so-called spiritual community is asleep. So
Hmm.
yeah, when we talk about NPCs, non-playable characters, like people that don't know that they're in a matrix, yeah, are a lot of our people don't. Yeah, a lot of our people believe in religion, they believe in the clock, the calendar, they believe in the system versus a small amount of people actually being able to see the truth. And I mean fully see the truth, like really like you know what I'm saying, see the truth inside and out, micro to macrocosm, that's small, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
For sure. Let's see. I don't know if this sister meant to request up or it was by
Yes,
accident.
it did. Yes, yes, it did.
Wait, I'm talking about Baby G. Did you mean to request up?
Yes,
Oh,
yes. I
okay,
just
but
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How
I
are
just
you,
want to
sis?
once again. I just want to just let it be known that you don't play. You are the bomb. I enjoy your life. Keep doing your stuff, because let me tell you, I'm a registered nurse, and I don't even think I know 2% of what you know. So yes, let it be known. But I do have a question, and if you could quickly go through it, I just basically want to know if you think that's, this is something that's real out there. I personally think it is, but the human spontaneous combustion,
Mm-hmm.
is that real? And do you think the sun will make some of that activate even more?
Okay, so I don't hold on, Sheila. I'm gonna mute you. It's a little bit loud on your end. So first of all, I was just telling a brother this the other day. So a lot of people believe in like the spontaneous combustion, and I understand the combustion because we just explained it, like with the breaking down of
Mhm.
their cells. But the thing
Yes.
is that it's not for a spontaneous reason. The reason is because of the sun. It's not for no reason. So the correct term for that, I'd say, is acute body radiation, right? And that's when you see that their body becomes inflamed, acute body radiation syndrome, and you
Mhm.
see the photocarcinogenesis. And the photocarcinogenesis is what amps up all the mutations within their genes because every single mutation that they have or each chromosome that they have is connected to a mutation. So what is it, TP53, the what is it, the 2A, all those different mutations, 1P36, SLOS, all of that
Right.
is connected to having animal DNA. So yes, as the sun gets hotter, the more that the UVC radiation literally hits ground level, um, will amp up the more mutations. And I had this on the screen earlier where it says UV radiation is acknowledged as the primary cause of photocarcinogenesis. So the squamous cell carcinoma, that one, the basal cell carcinoma, all of that is a result of UVC radiation. And it says tumor suppressor genes are inactivated by mutation growth promoting pathways are activated, leading to the disruption of cell cycle progression, which we're going to see in them the more unaliving of neurons, which is known as apoptosis. Yep,
Okay.
the unaliving of neurons is known as apoptosis.
Yeah.
So, and I have a picture of this from, I think this is 2024. But if you look at this right here is UVC radiation. And
Whoa.
this is what I mean by ground level. This was in Texas, DFW, Texas. And you can see how that red, those interstellar gases are almost reaching down as that far down as that pole. So this is what I mean when I say ground level UVC. This shit is what's smacking their genetics, right? And like I said, this was 2 years ago. And now we see this too, like this was around that same time, like them breathing all this in is terrible for them, but it's actually very good for us and helping us remember like these are so beautiful, man. It's making me miss Texas, man. But this is absolutely stunning. I mean,
It is. It is.
yeah, so it's beautiful.
Absolutely. It's real, because I did a little digging into that, and it's like these people literally um, go into flames. Like usually inside of them, and they're saying it has something to do with them having sulfur. Like the dog DNA, they have sulfur in them, and that same sulfur with the ammonia that causes that kind of like dog smell when they
Mm-hmm.
go out there, and they're saying this is the reason why they've never seen any case within the so-called black people. It has always been them.
Yep, literally. I don't want to post them on here because I'm trying not to
Hmm.
flag the live, but
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
did in my last YouTube video that I posted, you can just
Hmm.
scroll through there and see some of the mutations. We've talked about the vampire syndrome, also known as
Hmm.
acute, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, acute porphyria, and
Hmm.
that's just a fancy way of saying vampire syndrome. So these
Wow.
people, their gums began to recede, which creates the canine and the large, the sharp, large teeth. They began
Whoa.
to crave blood. And actually, let me just put the sources up on the screen for you because I be
Hmm.
forgetting everything. Let me see right here.
Hmm.
Um, right here. No, that's not it. It's this one. Um, all right, so yep, here it is. It starts out with sunlight aversion, exposure to sunlight. This is what happens for the vampire syndrome. It causes them intense
Wow.
pain, blisters, burning, severe skin damage, the fanged appearance, severe skin damage, and scarring from the, that's what I was trying to pronounce, the porphyria can cause the gums to recede, making the teeth appear longer and more prominent. Blood consumption. Historically, some physicians suggested patients actually consume the animal. This is why I say they need this shit because this is how their cells operate, right? They're saying that this would actually help somebody with this syndrome. The garlic aversion containing the chemicals. There you go, sis. High sulfur.
Yep.
You see what I'm
Yep.
saying? Pale
Hmm.
complexion. Patients may exhibit extremely pale skin tone, sometimes accompanied with the excessive hair growth. My people know we
Hmm.
always talk about the hypertrichosis, the AKA
Hmm.
werewolf syndrome. You see what I'm saying? And then you
Yep.
get the red or the tea colored urine because of the buildup of the blood and their urine from that. So these,
Hmm.
I'm telling you, man, I'm gonna put it on the screen for two
This is
seconds,
real.
y'all. 2 seconds, and I'm gonna take it off. One, two. This is
Hmm.
what they would look like. One, two. I gotta take it
Whoa.
off.
What?
That's the physical expression of the so-called vampire syndrome. Okay, so
Wow.
all of them, the hypertrichosis,
This is
like
real.
I have some more on YouTube. I don't want to post those, but I'm pretty sure people are familiar with the story of Maurice Tillet.
Hmm. Oh, yes, yes. The expression is back.
Yes, that right there is that's a mutation called acromegaly,
Wow.
right? And that's a it's due to a pituitary mutation, a
Hmm.
issue with the pituitary gland that causes a
Hmm.
growth hormone, and to grow into a fucking animal like that. Like they just try
What
to
they
say like
started out with.
facts,
Hmm.
yeah. So it's just some it seemed like some people seen it and some people haven't, but I'm just glad I haven't got a flag yet. But yeah, these different
Wow.
I also want to talk about something like this because
Hmm.
somebody left this in my comments trying to say that, oh yeah, we experience hypertrichosis too. I'm gonna come clean, that looks like a hybrid. That looks like somebody that is of mixed descent that has
Right.
you know what I'm saying, like animal DNA.
Hmm.
So I just wanted
That's what it
to,
looks like.
yeah, clear that up that that's not us. But yeah,
And
y'all,
my beautiful 4C hair. I am
right.
absolutely in love with my 4C hair and my dark complexion.
That's
I'm good.
neuromelanin. Yep,
I'm good.
that
Yep.
neuromelanin. So yeah, y'all.
Hmm.
I think that science helps us really understand our mother's womb. It really helps us understand more of who we are. That's why I talk about evolution. That's why I talk about genetics. Let me see. Realize TV. Go ahead. Realize TV. Did you mean to come up?
No, first and foremost, how y'all doing?
Greetings.
Greetings, greetings. My thing is that I know we didn't come from none of that. You know what I mean? We're a different type of people. So I can't sit here and argue about the conversation, but I will say this is that we are a little different from people who have thoughts of, oh yeah, you come from monkeys. No, we don't. No, we don't. And I never believed that. So what I will say, and I'm gonna land right here, is that we are a great people, and we strive to be better and better every day. And I don't see no one else really doing what we doing. And I just see our greatness, and I don't want to act like I don't. So that's just it for me, man. We are great people, loving people, and if you want this smoke, you can get it. But that's it. That's all I gotta say.
I'm gonna come clean. I didn't yeah, I heard the gist of what you were saying. You said that you couldn't argue in this conversation, and that you know that you don't come from the same origin as these people. Is that what you say,
Yep.
Realize?
Yep.
Okay, I
Yes.
got you.
Yes, ma'am.
I got you.
I,
Chief.
I am an American. I am the true Amaru. I come from the Amarukan. And a lot of people don't even know what that means, but it means a lot to me. So yeah.
I know. I think you coming in here and you doing that on purpose because you know that we spread the global unity and the universal unity between our people. So every time you come in here, you try to spread that shit. I'm gonna act like I didn't hear it because I knew this was you, bro. You see what I'm saying? Fact, Z Loner. I know he is. I don't really feel like going back and forth with that shit today. But you know what I'm saying? It's just continuing to show your vibration, especially when the truth gets presented to you. Because our people, and
Excuse
he
me.
left on his own. I didn't touch it. He left on his own.
Excuse.
So
Can I say something?
yeah,
I'm I'm sorry to interrupt, but at the same time, his eyes are closed. His eyes are closed.
yeah, for sure. Go ahead. You're right, my sister. Go ahead, Chief CC. I seen you requested up. Chief CC, did you mean to come up? You're on mute. All right, you'll have to request back up. Let's see, 564. Go ahead.
What's up, y'all?
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming up here as a white T man. I'm gonna say that right off the bat. The
Sure.
black woman is the only one that can hold every color in her womb. You are the representation of source here, period.
That's a lie. We don't create y'all. I had to shut that shit down immediately. We do not create y'all. We genetically and biologically, there's no way for me to create you, and there's no way for your women to create me. You're fine, Chief. So I'm gonna take you off mute. Please be able to explain how we can
Right,
create you.
I think you misunderstood what I said. I said you are the original creators. I didn't say you created me.
Okay.
There's a whole different issue going on there.
Yeah.
I can go back to the 1800s and bring up the orphan train kids,
Yeah.
right? They created those kids. Those kids were created just like in the beginning of the Bible when it says we were created in their image. Just like they did the same stuff on Epstein Island. He was putting his DNA into all those kids. You see what I'm saying? There's two different things going on here.
Okay. When you say all different colors, you got to be specific because you said all colors, right? And so,
Right. But
yeah.
I was just saying because you are the representation of source here. The phi energy is the energy here. You are the living waters. The woman holds 90% more in her X chromosome than the men do. No matter who the man is, you are the living waters. That's the representation here. I'm just saying that when it says we are created in their image, that's a totally separate thing, like you all are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
White people were created
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? That you're looking at people walking around every day that you think are the same as you. ABO is Aboriginal blood, and then you have blue bloods. So when I went to school, because I'm a little bit older than you, they used to teach us in school that until our blood hit the air, that it was blue. A lot of people don't know that. I live in Boston. They used to literally teach us that. Why would they teach people that? You see what I'm saying? So there's two different things going on here. You have white people probably have only been around maybe 6,000 years.
But it's all of
I
y'all
was
though. I get what you're saying, but it's not just YT people. Y'all are just the youngest in the genus. This
right,
also
right,
includes Dravidians, and this also includes so-called Asians. Asians slightly predate y'all, and so does the Dravidian man. So I
right.
understand where you're coming from, though, that you do have a creator. That is true. We see that creator depicted in several stones across the planet, left there of an entity splicing DNA, the rounding up of two animals, which is the story of Noah's Ark. And I understand that with introgression and what you're saying. When it comes to the blood types, though, blood types are not natural to this planet at all, though. So
Right.
I
No,
understand
and
that they're the
I understand that.
oldest. Yeah, I understand that they're the oldest. I just wanted to clarify for the room that that's the oldest according to their DNA, oldest creation as far as when it comes to introgression, right?
So let me just say this. Everything here is aether, right? The dark matter, everything is aether ultimately.
Mhm.
So the judgment will be the aether, will be the plasma, all of that. And white people can't survive that. That's why as everything heats up and we're coming into the changing of an age, there will be the aether will come down, the sun will become bigger, and if you're not in balance, or if you're a white tea person, you may not make it through. Probably 95% of them won't, and that's the judgment
None of
because
them.
everybody thinks it's something else.
Yeah, none of
Go ahead.
them would be able to withstand because of the origin of the cell. So the only people that's
Right.
going to be left on the planet is going to be neuromelanated people because we're the only ones that would be able to withstand it. A lot of
No.
y'all are. That's why we're seeing a lot of their people is dropping like flies right now. You see what I'm saying? It's not even as hot as we're gonna get. How hot as it's gonna get. Some of these people are
Right.
gonna drop instantaneously, and some of them are. We're gonna actually see them mutate before they actually crash out, right? You're going to see
Right.
more mass unalivings. You're going to see more pew pews. You're going to see more erraticness. You're going to see more of them eating out of trash cans, more of them resulting to schmannibalism. You're going to start seeing
Right.
that because it's genetic expression. The veil is being lifted. Them being able to hold their composure within the nucleus is going to wear off, especially when
Right.
the grid shuts off and there's no more laws. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because a lot of them, the laws is what's holding these people back. Like really, these people be prepared to be tested. You see what I'm saying? Because they've always tested us. Like you know what I'm saying? Because they know who we are subconsciously. So that's the thing. I got you. I need to say you can't argue nature, and he sees for himself facts.
Well,
You see what I'm
that's what I'm
saying?
saying. You're seeing it right now in Europe, where you're walking around and you're seeing white tea people looking like lobsters because it's so hot there. This is only the beginning. We have about 20 more years till the actual event that happens. It'll be, I call it the changeover event, and new heavens, new earth, all of that. That's real and it's coming. But what you're seeing, you're going to see the sun get bigger. You're going to see the plasma coming down because if you think about it. I call it a great mother, whatever you want to call it. The feminine is rising, and what you're seeing is you're in the womb and it's compressing and then it's going to give birth. And if you're not a natural organic being, you're not going to make it. You're not, and that's just facts.
So yeah, so the thing is that I don't think that y'all have 20 years for the simple fact that y'all have already had 11, right? We seen UVC radiation become ground level 11 years ago. So we're in the thick of it right now. If you're talking from the perspective of it just now starting, you're halfway through, according to your logic, respectfully. I don't even think y'all have 10 years. I think it's about three, at most four. I don't even see four, between like 2.5, 3 years before the vast majority of y'all, like it's about to get wild even just for the rest of this year because it's
Right.
not getting cooler anytime soon.
No, it's not. No,
And
it's not.
the thing is that they're lying about the temperature. So for the street lights and the streets to melt, it has to be hotter than 89 degrees. So they're lying
Right.
to the people over there, and we can see that, like I said, that red that I just had on the screen is UV radiation. They're saying that these other people can only be outside for 20 minutes, and I posted that chart in the last video. So in the last video on YouTube, you'll actually see some pictures of UVC radiation and the chart for UV. Once we start seeing
Right.
purple, it's done. And we're already at red, and we already know how Roy G. Biv works. So the thing is that they're already getting second degree burns, and they're saying that it's only 89 degrees, 90 degrees. I can only imagine what it's gonna be like next year. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Millions of y'all get depleted by the sun each and every year. These people are also going sterile. They're no longer reproducing,
Yep.
right?
Yep. I
So
agree.
that's just the thing. Uh, let's see. Yeah,
Hey,
y'all.
sister. Hey, sister. Hey,
Yeah.
sister. Can
hmm
I add to that right quick? This is Brother
Yeah. Go
Elaine. Can I
ahead.
add to it? Okay. 2030. I want to see what you see on this. Well, 2030 is when we're going to have the pole shift, and you're going to have the first supernova in its golden age sun cycle. It's going to be so much energy on this planet. A lot of folks is not going to make it. A lot of folks is not going
Right.
to make it.
Yeah, and that's for both sides. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of,
Yes.
like, let me tell you something. So the other day, it was a lady that identified as Latina, and she was, came in here talking about, like, oh, so-called black people and Latinas have, melanin, and I was telling her that they don't, and explaining the biochemical differences between that. And that's another thing. Like, uh these Cubanos, these people that are a byproduct of mixing with us, they're gonna be next. It's gonna be, we seen what happened to the Asian man first. He went first in there. He's first in the genus. He went first too. Then we're seeing the Dravidian man. Now we're seeing the YT
Yes.
man. Next in line is gonna be them. Then
Yep.
very last is going to be our people that's still eating meat, still eating sugar, still
Yep.
eating processed food. That's how it's going to go, because
Yep.
it's the order of
Yep.
so-called creation. The last man so-called standing would be us, because we're the so-called most
Yep.
fit to survive this planet. That's what they're trying to, say with evolution. Paleo debates. You decided to come back. What you back for
Yeah.
today, man? What you back for today?
Just the same thing that you keep on kicking me for.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know where that 40% Neanderthal DNA paper is.
I'm gonna be honest, I told you to do that, so I don't know why you're coming back to my live asking me for that when I'm told you where to find it.
Okay, so let's do a thought experiment. I say there's a pink unicorn in my room. You say paleo debates, that's fucking stupid. No, there's not a pink
Look, I don't want to hear that shit. All right, you're coming in my
Why
room
are you
constantly
scared to
trying
debate me?
to
It's
look.
very
You're the one that wants to debunk me, so you need to bring your facts. All right, evolution, the biggest lie ever told. Explain to me how we're all genetically and biologically the same.
yeah. So
Can
if I
I
can
tell?
speak without getting muted, I don't know why we're in panic mode right now. It's weird.
I'm not in
Um,
panic mode. You're the one in panic mode asking me from some shit from a week ago that you're still stuck on. I'm having a new fucking conversation and you're requesting up. You're the one
yeah,
panicking
sure.
because you
So
can't
if I
figure
was
out
in
how you're
panic mode,
genetically and
I would
biologically
speak
connected
over
to
you.
this planet. So that's the reason why you keep coming back, because you're trying to prove your existence.
Okay. So we're just doing ad hominems. I don't know why you're so upset with me. It's really weird. So anyway, if I say I paleo debates have a pink unicorn in my room, and you say paleo debates, that's fucking stupid. No, you don't. And I say, oh, you better go research it. Have you ever seen inside my room? You need to take a picture of the pink unicorn inside my room. Do you see how that's not very
Do
intelligent
you
thing to
see how
say?
you keep requesting up to my live when you're the one that's trying to debunk me, asking me to tell you where to go to get the source to debunk
Sure.
me?
So you're not
So
going to engage
again,
with what I
dummy, you
said?
don't have to get the fuck off my live because you didn't piss me off. You're the one that keeps coming back telling me to prove some shit to you, and you're trying to debunk me. Hello? You're the one that's trying to debunk me. Why would I give you the tools to do that? Do you know how to fucking have a debate? Like, boy, that frontal lobe, man, be underdeveloped. Underdeveloped as fuck. You're the one, yeah, thank you. Like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Oh, do you have that? You have that source, bruh. You're the one that's trying to prove to me that you belong on the planet. Remember?
I think he's mad because he's trying to upset you, but at the same time, you're bringing receipts to the table about everything. So thank you for that.
Gratitude, Paleo. I'm gonna give you
Yes,
one last
ma'am.
Quite
time
the
to
opposite.
answer
I'm
my
asking for
question.
receipts and I'm receiving
Hold
none.
on for a second. Let's start this over. Because if you can't have an intellectual discussion with me now, I'm blocking you from all my pages, including when and Zell is gonna do the same thing too. All right. So calm down for a second, regroup. Me and you can have a conversation, but it needs to be genuine. All right. That means no over talking. That means we need to answer each other's questions. All right. The topic of the room is evolution is the biggest lie ever told. How do you feel about the prompt?
Yeah, so as we start every single conversation, I don't think it's a lie. You tell me X, Y, Z. I ask you, can you provide any supporting evidence to X, Y, Z? And you tell me I need to provide your evidence. Just like what that nice lady was saying about you standing on business and bringing receipts. Please bring receipts. That's all I'm asking you to do is provide any evidence to support your claim. Also, I'm not over talking anybody. In fact, I'm the person getting muted. So I don't know. I don't know why we're making points about that. But anyway, yeah, just any piece of evidence, one scientific paper to support the claim that anybody has 40% Neanderthal DNA. That would be super cool to see. I would love to see it. One
But the
paper.
thing is this is what I told you. Okay. I told you that there is a Harvard geneticist who proved that all so called non Africans have Neanderthal DNA. I said that there was a conglomeration of multiple scientists, multiple evidence that shows that y'all have incomplete and dominant variations of Neanderthal DNA between 5, 10, 20, and up to 40%. I gave you the scientists, I gave you the school, and I also my other half also read something off to you from the source that we were looking at. So I actually told you where to go, and your response back to me was go find the paper where it says it, and I told you that I wasn't finna do that shit. The thing is that I was already hosting a live, putting up sources on the board that day when you was in here. All right, so I did put receipts. And you still have not explained to me how we're genetically and biologically the same, starting with the embryological origin. So now that we've hashed that out, this is a new conversation. What evidence are you bringing to the table that would explain that all people on the globe, fuck that, all life on the globe stems from the same biogenetic point?
Okay. Well, I don't really know what biogenetic point means, but anyways, your original claim was that people had 40%. Certain people had 40% Neanderthal DNA.
So again, I told you, I said answer my question or I'm taking you out. Why do you keep going back to 40% when I'm telling you about what's on the screen? You're caught on the 40% because you're scared you're a fucking Neanderthal. The thing is, aren't you trying to tell me that we're the same? So why are you upset about that? You should actually be able to bring me the source that shows about the Neanderthal DNA because you're saying I'm the same as you, right? Hello? So again, I'm talking about all life. I'm not just talking about humans because evolution is about all life forms on the planet that function like prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So here's the thing, it's not that you keep getting muted. You just don't understand the fucking question. The fuck, we all seen it firsthand today. I asked you about the screen and you keep talking about Neanderthal. Okay, how I'm asking you how the Neanderthal got on the planet and you asking me about the DNA. How did the cell get here for us to even talk about the DNA?
Because he believes in Darwin, and Darwin was not correct. Am I correct on this?
Yeah, Darwin literally, that's what I was gonna show y'all earlier. Like when we look at this, like about how Darwin was wrong. Y'all see at the bottom where it shows the chromosome? Those are not those are not bullshit. And when we look at hold on, I gotta mute. This background is loud. Those are not connected even from the jump. You see that space? They were never connected. Then you see gaps all throughout their so-called life. That species right there to begin with is not the same species at the end. And they're trying to talk about the beak. Notice how y'all people that listen in here, they always come in here and they talk about the beak. Look at the rest of the organism though. Look at the start, looking at the chromosomes. So this is what I was explaining. If you look at the thumbnail on the YouTube picture, it's explaining the types of asexual reproduction. One of them is binary fission. The other one is, hold on, let me put that on the screen too, because I almost forgot. You see budding, which is what Beansy was talking about earlier. That's that we just seen. That's not binary fission or fragmentation to where they're making perfect replicas of themselves. There's that DNA was never joined to begin with. And this is what we see in eukaryotes and the cell division that they're talking about. There is no perfect binding. I'm going to clip that and post that on YouTube because I can't explain it because you have to see it. You have to see the way that the cells function. When the DNA of a mother and a father, YT, for instance, when the DNA comes together in early conception, it does not bind. It literally only takes like small pieces of information and splits itself to where it's never truly binded and fusion takes place. And it's because of the recessive amount of genes. You see what I'm saying? All those different alleles. So that's what I'm saying. They're not 100% of anything. Their DNA is not properly fused together through cymatics. This is why they can't hold on to light. I mean, look at it. The origin of this bird altogether, we would need to know the bird, right? And when they're talking about these birds, not all of them are eukaryotic or prokaryotic. When we look at how there's no binding in the first set of cellular division with those chromosomes, that's telling me everything about the organism itself, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's telling me everything about the organism. Y'all are not 100%. It's not a single set of chromosomes that are binded to begin with. So when the cell goes to replicate, it's not a perfect replication like we see in prokaryotes, man. And this is another reason why Darwin is wrong, because he's just looking at the organism. But when it comes to evolution, like in this chart right here, it literally explains that in order for it to be evolution, there has to be a change in the genotypic level. The genes have to change to make it a different species, right? But we've never seen birds turn into another bird, into another species. We've seen adaptation, right? We've seen a short-term change in the way that birds may mate, right? For instance, like polygyandry or polyandry in birds. They're doing that as a response to their environment because the males are producing too much testosterone and have become violent, right? So now they copulate differently. That's not evolution. That's something that they're doing based off of something else unnatural taking place. So paleo is the one that's trying to come in here and say that everything that we see in nature is because of a natural cause, and it's not, right? It's not, because we see things like this. Butterflies, where they're injecting silicone into their womb. So now they don't have a natural attraction to the males in their organisms, or to the male in their species. So you're going to tell me that that's evolution because they're no longer attracted to the males, right? They're going to say that that's evolution, but that's not evolution. That's an adaptation to something unnatural taking place to their DNA, to their bodies, right? So again, go ahead,
I
Sheila.
have a question.
Yeah, go
I have
ahead.
a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Why are there albinos in every race, though?
So the so-called black woman creates the albino, and it is still a shade of neuromelanin because they don't get sunburnt. They still synthesize the sun. Their hair is still curling and kinking in the Fibonacci sequence, and it still synthesizes. But this is what I was explaining to you earlier, that the so-called black woman can create 48 different shades. It's all shades of neuromelanin, though, because again, we could take the full spectrum of light and be able to spit that back out into existence. And that's what I was explaining with the womb, the camera, binary fission. That is 48 different expressions of neuromelanin that we see facet within our people. So they don't get sunburnt and they don't undergo mutations. Now you have the albino Dravidian. That's a different embryological origin than a neuromelanated so-called albino, right? They still have kinky hair. Their cells still undergo binary fission. Their cells are still coated in neuromelanin. They do not mutate. They don't naturally produce animal proteins and enzymes. They don't smell like dogs when they get wet. So they're just another version of us. But when it comes to them, that's due to, again, incomplete dominance. So this on the screen here is actually another thing that I wanted to talk about. They're calling this evolution as well. You see on the left, that this caterpillar is in its whole womb, right? That's the whole womb that it grows. It undergoes metamorphosis. But when you look at the right, you see how someone, a scientist, which are villains, by the way, mad scientists, right? And they tied half of the womb to make the organism only grow and develop in half of the womb. These same type of experiments that they've done in nature is the same type of experiments, maybe not the same thing, but for the same purpose and a sort of same mechanism that they've done to us. This is what we mean by things have shrunken in frequency over time, because they're forcing this organism to only function, grow, and develop in half of the amount of space. So guess what's going to happen? They're going to come out smaller. Even though that their genetics is telling them that they should be bigger, the environment, remember, 40 to 60% of who you are stems from the totipotent stem cell. The rest is influenced by your environment. So this is an adaptation. This is not evolution. It is a temporary change. When this is no longer taking place, when more interstellar gases are on the planet, when there's no more mutilation, when the air is the way that it's supposed to be, this organism will actually go up much in size, be much greater in size, which is what we see in the Carboniferous era, right? In so-called prehistoric times, like a single ant used to be the size of, a shoe, right? Or the fact that beetles were the size of cars. Trees were 3 to 4 or 5 times the size that they are today. And it's because of the amount of interstellar gases and the nanodiamonds that we were taking in. So that's what I'm saying. Hold on, Sheila. Your background is really loud, sis. My bad. Every time you come off mute, it be loud. Let me see.
Hey, sister, can
Yeah,
I ask you another question?
for sure.
So when when you was talking about the air,
Mhm.
okay, from what my understanding is back in the day when we was those larger beings, they say we was breathing in hydrogen. Now we went from hydrogen to oxygen. So my question is, do you think we would go back to hydrogen?
We're gonna go back to breathing in argon. All like, okay, so the thing is like all the planets that are in a solar system share information. They're in a system together where they function as one unit, right? So if you study Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, and their atmosphere, the different gases that you see within their atmosphere is only being blocked out because of things like the ozone layer, which is what's peeling back and being removed. The UVC radiation is permeating through the ozone layer and is allowing the interstellar gases from the cosmos, other planets, other stars, and that's what's going to increase our anatomy. And that's what our cells are going to respond to. So I'm going to be honest, right at the moment, I can't remember all of the interstellar gases and the nanodiamonds offhand. Argon is one, but also study like the periodic table of elements and things like that, because that's what I'm talking about. The natural elements, studying the atmosphere of the planets, also the rocks, the crystals, because they hold all of that type of memory, right? And the crystalline state of matter. Yeah. So,
Mushrooms,
yeah.
mushrooms does that too. It's a recorder of the planet from
Uh,
mycelium.
yeah, the yep, all trees communicate through the mycelium network for sure. Actually, fungi are bioluminescent. One of the major what am I trying to say? One way that we can get a lot of neuromelanin is from mushroom, and a simple Google search can tell you that. Like if you type in what foods or fruits are abundant in neuromelanin, they're gonna tell you that one of them is mushrooms. You'll see bananas are on there. And when I started looking at the list and studying the active compounds and some of the chemical compounds within those organisms, I figured out that that's what they're calling vitamin D. Yeah, that's why they say that, oh, such and such is not getting enough vitamin D. It's neuromelanin. It's the interstellar gases, those nanodiamonds, because we wouldn't just be getting vitamin D from the sun. You know what I'm saying? But mushrooms are heavily, you know what I'm saying, they compose a lot of neuromelanin simply because they're bioluminescent, just like we are. And underground, it glows. Earthworms, they take in radiation. They're bioluminescent. You just can't tell because they're underground. Birds communicate through UV and through sonics, the same way that bats do. Everything in nature communicates through light. Yeah, fireflies are bioluminescent. When you go deep down in the ocean, you get more bioluminescent. So yeah, the stars are bioluminescent. They have luminosity. Yeah, so yeah, it's I'm telling you, y'all, it's I'm telling you, we're the cosmos and the universe walking in the flesh, man. I just be trying to drive it home in different ways to help my people wake up. I will never stop talking about the truth. Even when this system shuts down, I'm still gonna always talk about genetics and still talk about the truth because that's our truth. You know what I'm saying? Some people, they're like, oh, I ain't gonna talk no more, look at what's happened to the white man. No, I'm finna talk more because our people are still asleep. I was never talking for myself, I was speaking for the universe, helping her raise her vibration. You see what I'm saying? So that's how I know some of us be doing this shit for the wrong reason, and we got to always make sure that we embody our authenticity for real, man, because that's what helps wake the next brother or sister up. Don't do it, don't talk about it just because somebody else is doing it or because it sound cool. Do it because it's authentic and it's true to you and it's your truth. You know what I'm saying? That's the light that wakes the next brother or sister up, is the fact that you embodying that universal truth. So I just wanted to say that. You feel me? Gratitude, would you love me? You see what I'm saying? You too. Like each one reach one. You feel me? Gratitude 50. Cocos, did you want to say something? Welcome up, sis.
Hi, thank you for having me up. I invited a bunch of people here, so I came up because I hope y'all are in here listening to this golden information. I actually started with like history and realizing the things and the deception in history, and then I actually started with the Epstein file or the E-files, excuse me. And after that, it kind of, so this, I'm sorry. What I'm trying to say is this was the piece that put everything together for me. And you are the only person that speaks in the scientific deception. So I appreciate you. Thank you for letting me come up. And I hope everyone is taking notes and researching.
Yes.
Gratitude, my sister. I really appreciate you for saying that. And I'm glad. And really, me and you have the same story. I actually went to college. I started off in business. Then I changed my major to history. Switched to liberal arts, decided I wanted to major in history with a minor in African American studies. And I'm like, yo, none of this, like, I'm looking at this history and it's just like the saddest shit ever when you actually see the truth. And I did drop out of school. I got on my journey and I came into the path of genetics, and I've never stopped because you can't debunk genetics. You can bunk his story, but her story is genetics. So I'm glad you see the same thing as me, sis. And you know what I'm saying? Keep going. You know what I'm saying? Like literally keep going. I tell you all the time, if you have questions, reach out to me. Just make sure that we're doing the research on our own, right? That we're building, that steel is sharpening steel, that iron is sharpening iron, and that we're growing, right? You never want to usurp the next brother or sister because you're just as powerful as them. There's no need to. So I'm so glad that, you know what I'm saying, you see the light in it and that you're going. But like I told you in the DMs, let me know if there's something that I can help you with, and with anything in your journey. It doesn't even have to be genetics. Anything that goes for any sister in here, any brother. Zell is not gonna like ignore you. If a brother needs help understanding something, He will be up ass crack of dawn breaking it down to you. So feel free to reach out to him too. If there's a brother or sister that may respond better to Zell over me or me over Zell, it doesn't matter. We just want our people to see the truth. We just want this shit to
Right.
shut down so we can get back to our children, so we can start living in harmony, so that way that we can really embody, you know what I'm saying, this truth. Please reach out to me. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you ask yourself first, but if you really stuck, I'm there. Please don't feel stuck or feel alone. You know what I'm saying? Everything in the universe is one song, universe, one song. All right?
Yep. Yep.
So,
Yep.
facts. Let me see.
Hey, sister, have you ever heard of Jewel Pookrum?
Who is that?
Okay, this Will I Am. When you was talking about Delbert Blair earlier, okay, I've been studying in the universe since '93. So my teachers were Dr. Delbert Blair, Bobby Hemmett, and Jewel Pookrum. Y'all need to put her up. This sister, she speaks like you. You remind me of her, and I learned from her in the '90s. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I was asking, because you remind me of her, because she's the only one outside of you that I heard speak on these type of topics. Her name is Jewel Pookrum. That sister, she's heavy like you will. And I learned from
Oh,
her back in the '90s.
okay. I never heard of her. If you don't mind, can you send me like her name? Because I wouldn't be able to tell her
Yeah,
last name is in. But if you can DM,
I'll
yeah,
type it in. Can I type it in?
yeah, you can
Can I
type it
type it
in
in?
and
You
I'm gonna
see it?
screenshot
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure. Jewel Pookum. Oh, okay. All right,
Pookrum,
yeah,
Pookrum.
Pookum. Oh, okay, yeah. I also listened to Sister Myra Moss, Sister Deborah
Yes. Oh,
Moore.
yes.
Facts.
Yes,
Them
yes,
sisters
yes,
tough,
yes,
man,
yes.
especially with the circadian rhythm, the Sister Deborah Moore. So yeah, our people been had this information, man, for
Yeah,
sure. Let me
yeah.
get to Goddess 65. Let me see. You're on mute. Can you hear me? Goddess 65. Did you mean to come up? Probably not. You can request back up if you did. Bone Path, go ahead.
Hey, I just wanted to present two reasons as to why evolution is a lie.
Okay.
Okay. Reason one, cats are smarter than people, so there you go. But in all seriousness, I think the intuitive symbiotic relationships that everything has with one another, the most obvious example being fruits from trees and plants, having tasty, fleshy flesh for us to eat, for all the animal kingdom to eat, to then replant seeds. It's that kind of intuitive design that, like, you know, lets you know that there is something more than just pure adaptation. Because if it was just pure adaptation, then we would all remain just like little bugs, little microbials, and whichever one could multiply fastest, like, wins out, you know? So there is something a lot more than just, oh, temperature hot, so adapt to being more resilient towards heat. There's something else pushing us.
So you're saying that
Evolution can't
cats are
explain that.
wait, okay, my bad. I didn't know you. I thought you were done. Did you land or were you still explaining
No,
yourself?
no, no. I feel like I landed, but if you have any other questions towards that, then I'm happy to answer it.
Yeah,
And
so you
the
said
first
that
part about
cats
cats
are
was a joke.
okay. Yeah, I'm gonna come clean. I don't really know what you're talking about. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Like, um, evolution is a lie because and you're saying. I guess you're saying that adaptation. When we look at the adaptation in species, that there would have to be something deeper than the base premise of evolution. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay, yeah, that
Let me
joking
let
shit,
me
like I
let
didn't
me
understand that shit.
rephrase it. So obviously the cat part was a joke, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't measure like intelligence like that. What I was saying is the intelligent symbiotic relationship that happens throughout the world and throughout life, okay? And
Okay.
what pushes our adaptation isn't our environment, but something greater than that. So if fruit has flesh that is tasty for us animals that walk around and it comes from a plant which is staying still, okay? The plant doesn't really necessarily know we're here, but it produces tasty food for us to then eat and then the seeds just get dispersed through that, right?
Yeah, you're trying to explain
But
symbiotic
it's
relationships, but how many symbiotic
yeah.
relationships are there?
I mean, there's many, but I'm
Yeah.
explaining that is proof against evolution.
Uh-huh.
Because if it was just a case of simple adaptation, which is what Darwin was talking about, then we would just be microbials, just like multiplying, okay, or just staying as like psilocybin or trees.
All right, F1 in the chat, and please stay away from that word you just said. You're gonna have to say magic mushroom or something. F1, 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 please. Because that's not a TikTok friendly word to say for sure. Um, the thing is that you're trying to explain mutualism and how mutualism would go against evolution. I just don't understand the connection. I understand the mutualism, the commensalistic, and the parasitic relationships, but simply, even when it comes to parasitism, that would actually disprove evolution. Um, in this sense, I just don't really understand like your analogy with the point that you're making. That is, it doesn't really make sense to me.
Well, I think that what part of it doesn't make sense
Because you're
exactly?
using mutualism to debunk evolution, and you're saying that we would have just stayed as prokaryotes, but then you're talking about eating or you say we would have just stayed as microbials, but then you're talking about eating fruit. I'm just trying to
Yeah, so
understand the
I'm
connection
saying that
between.
I'm saying that the eating fruit part is not necessarily the eating fruit, but the trees producing flesh for the fruit in order for us, like flesh that is tasty to us.
Bomb path, put F1 in the chat. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have to take you off and you'll have to request back up. Like I just got flagged for him saying that word. So I just told TikTok that my live doesn't contain the information. So I can't have you on the panel until they clear that restriction up. The thing is that I'm not really sure where you're coming from at the time, brother, but when you can come back up, you can explain it. The thing is that I don't really know. Like he's trying, child. I think he's trying to say that mutualism. I'm gonna come clean. I don't know, y'all. I actually don't know what the brother is trying to say with that one. Um, they thought BS in school. Yeah. I actually don't know ninth grade science, biology, perfects. Yeah. People don't get fifth grade science, cells, tissue, organ. Yeah, facts. Yeah. So, I don't know if I'm gonna wait for 10 minutes. If somebody want to come up, they can. If somebody wants to tell me that I'm wrong, they can. Other than that, you know what I'm saying? I might leave. Let's see, how long are we live? Out 2 hours, 37 minutes. Yeah, how come they keep taking your pages? Because I'm scared of that. I watch Ether literally get up to like what, 25K? And they snatch this page down. That's why I told y'all if they take this page, I'm not making another one. Y'all gonna have to see me in nature. Facts. I'm not doing that because they want me to verify my identity so bad, and I've already done it. Every time when I verify my identity, they ask me to do it again. And I know like TikTok with the facial recognition, I'm not finna fall for that. You know what I'm saying? That's just another way for them to shadow ban me. Oh really? They doing it on there? It's interesting. Yeah, facts. I don't really care about social media. If they take it, they take it. Hell, this they shit. But I will always raise the vibration of this plant. On Twitch, damn, is it enough of our people on there? I feel like it is. I don't know. So can you tell me how the East Indians came to be? Genetic engineering and introgression. You talking about the ones I'm talking about. That's the thing. When y'all come in here with titles, I don't know who y'all are talking about. Because to know who's who, you need to understand genetics and biology. So if Elon Musk can be so-called African or African American, and we know damn well he don't look like none of us, y'all got to be more specific than that, right? Because our people were the original Indo people over there. So I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Indo, black, so-called black. We were there first, right? So you seeing people from India, but who? Let me see, who is this that want to come up? You talking about people from India. You gotta be more specific with me. Go ahead, Jimmy Justice.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just for the nature of this discussion, are you saying that evolution is a lie when it comes to all species or just to the human species?
All.
All. So is it your contention that all the species that exist now have always existed and no species has become extinct?
So no. What I would say is that prokaryotes have always existed.
What is
Eukaryotes
it?
have
What
not.
I'm sorry. What does that mean?
So the base premise of evolution is talking about the origin of the cells, the two cellular form types for all of life. So prokaryotes, meaning that organisms who have a single set of chromosomes and come from biogenetic processes, have always been here. But the origin of the eukaryotic cell is the biggest question mark in the world.
So species have never changed.
Yeah, species have never.
Now,
Facts. Species have never evolved. They've adapted. I ain't gonna lie, your connection going in and out.
So you believe in time?
I believe in the universe
In
creating
creation.
through I believe in the universe creating through biogenetic processes and genetic engineering and introgression, because that's the
But
origin of the
again,
eukaryotic.
but in your view, the universe, it was not created by God, but it just all the species sprung into existence simultaneously, and they didn't. One species didn't evolve into another, or there's no genetic source of a tree of life or a branch of evolution. All species came into existence at the same time and never changed, even though there was no creator involved in doing it. That's your position?
No. So it's almost, but not exactly. So everything came into creation through the same biogenetic force, the same
Over time?
cyclical
Over
force.
time.
Over so-called time, yes, if you want to use that for the sake of the conversation, but I'm just talking about conscious expansion.
So
It will
if
come
it
from the
involved
same.
over
Hold
time,
on, hold
was there
on,
an
hold
organism?
on, hold on, hold on. All life comes from the same origin unless something unnatural takes place to this planet, which is the genetic engineering and the introgression for the eukaryotic cell.
Okay.
So cats don't come from the same origin as lions.
Okay, but again, you said it all came from the same place. What place is that? So was there original species, an original animal or organism that then gave birth, or
Prokaryotes.
what were they? I'm stupid. So please, what is a karyote? Was it an animal? Was it
No,
a plant?
So again, Jimmy, hold on for a second, bro. I'm gonna tell you again. Of every single life form on the planet, there is two cellular form types. This is the cells. All right, cells make up organisms. So prokaryotes is a cell, bacteria, right? Eukaryotes is a cell that has genetic material from multiple origins to function itself. So again, you as a YT man you are composed of eukaryotic cells where there is 25
Oh,
to 30.
you're saying that there are two types of animals in the planet.
There's
All
two
animals.
cellular form types. There's two cellular form types, not
What
two
type of
animals,
form?
two cellular
Okay, what type
prokaryotes
of?
and eukaryotes.
Let's take a lion, for instance. What type of cells do they have?
Prokaryotic.
How about whales? What do they have?
Prokaryotic.
And how about caterpillars? What do they have?
It depends.
It depends on what. Some caterpillars are different. Or how about ants? What do they have?
Ants are prokaryotic.
So, but white people have what?
Eukaryotic cells.
So, are white people unique in? Are white people unique in that aspect among all other animals?
The uniqueness would be unnatural.
Oh, white people are natural.
Hold on,
because they were created by a lab.
God damn, man, you gotta relax, okay?
They were created in a lab. White
They,
people were
yes,
created in
the
a lab
origin
by
of their,
evil scientists.
oh my gosh. The origin of all eukaryotes on the planet is genetic engineering and introgression. So it's not just YT, it's also the
Okay.
cat, the dog, it's also some caterpillars, some birds. You see what I'm saying? Some, when it comes to dogs, when it comes to some pigs, the origin of
So
chicken, when it goes
all
back
are those
genetically
animals
2,000
are
years
are
ago.
those are all those animals united by the fact that they were engineered by humans in terms of creating domestic engineering to breed certain species for domestic use? Is that what you're saying?
Yes
So
and no.
all
So the origin of the human, the so-called human man, y'all have a creator. And then now that y'all have been created, y'all have also created other organisms in a lab over time.
Oh, so white people were created by a completely different phenomenon than created black people. Black people evolved naturally, and white people were created by an evil scientist, for instance.
Yeah, the evil scientist is depicted in the Sumerian
Oh,
text
yeah.
known as
Okay.
Pindar,
Name Yakub, correct?
Yakub, Pindar,
Okay.
Moloch,
Okay. I
Gilgamesh,
just wanted to make
God,
sure.
Zeus. Yeah.
I wasn't sure, how serious. Now I know I'm talking to a complete fucking ignoramus who
Yeah,
believes in fairy
and
tales.
you're a complete bitch, a son of a bitch too. That's the story that came out by your people because you share dog DNA. All right. So the thing is you could have came up here and explained the origin of the eukaryote. I knew he was gonna do some shit like that because he was being condescending in his tone. But the thing is that I can explain my existence down to a subatomic and an atomic level, and you can't. So how about this? Let's fuck all the tests and the scientific tests, and how about we go take the sun test? Me and you, 8 to 12 hours in the sun, and we can see who's natural and we can see who's not. I don't have to continue to explain myself and go down with the science. Y'all want to cosplay us and be the same as us until it's time for us to stand in the fucking sun. It says idiotic. It's unnatural as fuck that you can't take the sun. You're going to have to cry about it to your creator about why he created you, why this entity created you, not being able to take something as natural as the sun. Because I can. And not only that, I synthesize terrestrial radiation too. You can tell me I know I'm talking to a complete. I knew I was talking to a chimpanzee, a dog, a cat, fruit fly, banana, celery, potato, the fuck lice, ticks. This is artificial intelligence, by the way. Niggas thinking that they're the same, thinking that that's the same thing that they doing with the robots. They're giving robots identity, talking about Eric, Polish 34 man. This is a robot they put in on the news. Your people is doing this shit and you telling me that I'm the idiot? What the fuck? Your police officers are dressed in head to toe in black to mimic me. You calling me the idiot. Oh, fuck. Nigga told me, all right, evil scientists. Bro, can you tell me how a chimpanzee, a dog, a pig, a cat, and a fruit fly found each other attractive in nature to create your ass?
Hey, sister.
Jimmy Justice, don't request up no more. You'll get blocked, all right?
And to add on what you were saying, sister, how about they still born with the coxswain tail?
They still
Let's
born
talk
with
about that.
vestigial tails. They still having
Yes, the
look.
coxswain tail,
The
exactly.
same
Yes.
fucking tails that they cut dogs' tails with is the same tails that they cutting at birth. Pediatric surgeons, to be
Facts.
exact. Like, what are you
Facts.
talking about? A
Facts.
children's doctors, pediatric neurosurgeons are responsible for cutting tails. You want to know why? Because the nerves of their spine goes all the way down there. And the vestigial tail, which is the spine, is connected to the brain. So you have to have a fucking neurosurgeon to do that.
Yep.
What is you
Facts.
talking about? None of my people have ever been born with tails. Like,
Facts.
what the hell? We don't undergo hypertrichosis. We don't undergo none of these mutations. Like, what the hell? Now, they talking about when pigs fly. Pigs do fly. These are your pilots. Who's the number one pilot on this planet? Them. So pigs are flying. Dogs is driving the dogs on wheels. Monkeys on wheels. When you look down at the monkey, monkey money, monkey coins. These people, man, y'all gotta stop playing. Like, Jimmy, you can never come up here, man. No more. So actually, y'all, I'm finna go. Crispin, Crispin putting the pictures up the whole time. You see what I'm saying? Let me go. Let me skim through the what's the names in here. Skim through. Yeah, they are scared. Nine ether. Facts. You see what I'm saying? They scared. The facts. C Mac for temporary purposes, and that sun was a timer. You see what I'm saying? And now they time is done. You hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So yeah, y'all. That's it. I'm finna go outside in the sun. So that's it on that. Finna go outside in the sun. Zealous home. Look.
Abundance, y'all.
Zealous home.
Gratitude to you, sister.
Yeah,
Gratitude to you,
gratitude.
sister. Keep
Yeah.
gratitude, sister.
Yeah, facts. Gratitude to you. Love you too, baby G. Love the people, everybody. Yep, what a time to be alive to see us transition in this beautiful energy. You see what I'm saying?
You can't stop the universe.
They
You
said
feel
if you
me?
weren't true, if it weren't true, they would not imitate. Thank you. You would not try to cosplay me if it wasn't true. Gratitude and abundance, y'all. Y'all go out in the sun and make sure you're eating fruits. Don't put no meat. If you put meat in your body after this live, I'm gonna be upset with you.